they say, it's the CHGO Cubs watch-along party. We're just hanging out here, live on YouTube. Suckburner, Jared Willis, Kim Wells, Cody Belmendo, Big Joey running the 1s and 2s. We're here for what, like 3.5 hours of no-hit baseball?
If it's no-hit baseball, this game will be done in 2 hours.
Right, that's right. That's right. That's what we're hoping for after last night. I got to bet at 1:30 last night.
Go to my apartment today, so there's 2 dogs in my apartment now.
Started all over? All right. Let me start all over? Hey, everybody. Welcome to the CHGO Cubs watch-along. We're here hanging out. We got a runner on already. Justin Steele on the mound. Cubs with a chance to win the series. We'll sit here on YouTube chatting with you, although we can't see the chat yet. We're going to hang out for like however long the game is, and then we'll do the hour-long post-game show. We've had a couple. These are kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
Find out what Gary's thinking live during the game.
Ooh. The best case scenario is the Luke Stuckmeyer special, 2-hour game. And worst case scenario is it rains again.
No. Please don't say that.
Don't even speak that into the universe.
I actually just wanted Luke's reaction.
No, it is supposed, in some places, it is supposed to rain this afternoon.
Yeah. Shout out to Sarah, our great producer, for picking me up yesterday. I have to get to work at 4:30 in the morning every day, and she was nice enough to pick up the rain delay for me yesterday, and I'll be in for her tomorrow. So big shout out to her for that, because you got to bed at 1:30 last night.
1:30.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, like the Kennedy on the way home, I'm thinking, we're leaving. I don't know what time. What did we leave? 12:30. We got done or something like that.
Yeah.
And I exit off the expressway. It goes from 5 lanes to 1 lane.
Oh.
And then it opens back up for a second, and then you get to near O'Hare, and they go back down to 1 lane again. Semis, everything. It took me like 50 minutes to get home at,
that's a nightmare.
1 o'clock in the morning.
The ability for the city of Chicago to produce traffic, no matter the time of day of the week, like it, at a certain point, it's just impressive. I can't even be mad at it anymore. I'm just impressed by it because it doesn't matter. 12:30
sucks
at night on a Tuesday. You should have sailed home.
Yeah. It was probably even harder going home after a game like last night, too. I mean, just a very frustrating loss. So
I'm impressed.
One in a long line of, well, you're probably numb to it at this point. I think we all are, right? To an extent.
I've been numb for 2.5 months.
Yeah, I think. But it's still a frustrating loss in which you load the bases a couple times and nobody can get that hit. Hopefully that doesn't happen today. Hopefully it's a quick ball game. Steele's on the mound. He works quick. 2.5 hour game. Hopefully the Cubs can take a series and, like I said, make it hard on Jed. This is you got to win this game. This is as close to as much as a must-win game as it gets. So,
well, 1 loss was really all they could afford to lose this week, honestly.
Yeah.
So they lost yesterday, which means they got to win today, and then somehow, some way, sweep a really good Royals team. And that would get them to 500.
Right. And in the wild card race, the way that it is,
something like that. Yeah.
You're right back in it at 500.
Yeah.
But I think they keep illustrating the problem that if you're trying to compete at all this year is the offense, the inability to score runs, the inability to hit with runners in scoring position. So to me, you could compete with the starting pitching that you have, even with the bullpen that you have. But when you can barely score, you're making it really, really tough on that pitching staff day after day.
Yeah. Unrelated, I have the Nerfy. No run first inning. We have 1 out. We have 5 outs to go, fellas. 5 outs for the rest of our lives.
You did that last night too, right?
I did.
Oh, that hit. Nice. Yeah, obviously that.
I'm feeling a double play coming up here.
Same. Well, I feel good with Steele on the mound, and there's a Cubs legend on the mound for the Brewers. So
look at this.
No,
not one of those. The last time that happened.
No, I jinxed him.
Yeah, let's hope he's all right.
That's really annoying.
If that run scores, we can go take a pizza break. That's the way it's felt. Like somebody team scores in the first inning, it's like insurmountable.
Steele just took a weird route to that ball off the mound and kind of dove/tripped at, and great base running there. From
he was unable to field the ball.
Like he was trying to rush it a little bit.
That's a tough play. I mean, what sucks about it is the fact that he got exactly what he wanted, like soft contact. Like it was right. I mean, he hit it 33 miles per hour, and it's going to be ruled a hit. You know, like so dumb. This game is so stupid.
I'll tell you, I'm very impressed with the Brewers' return for Corbin Burns.
And
Joey Ortiz is a guy, man. He looks like he's going to develop into at least a 4-tool player, and he's got some pop. He runs the bases well. That was a really smart baseball play to give him, like, team that's struggling to score runs right now. That can automatically be a game changer and a big momentum lift in this game. So let's see if Steele can get out of it. But yeah, Joey Ortiz has been great for them.
Score is 0-0, Joey. First and third. I can't see the chat. I brought it up on my phone because, I'm multi-platform.
You can't see the chat
phones,
because the TV
iPads,
has the game on it, Luke.
Televisions. All the technologies.
How many screens you got going right now? 3? You got
It's working 3.
Look at you.
The game, laptop.
Live
Who
chat.
says Luke Stuckmeyer can't do technology?
Live chat,
right.
the empty rundown for the post-game show.
Oh, God. 3-1. He's about to walk the bases.
This was not.
Murphy
this
isn't
was,
going to hit. I'm very sad. I'm letting it set.
That's not a moment he's going to want to relive very often.
No. Jeez. Not even close.
Nope.
That's an at-bat, though, where you're probably pitching around Adames with the bases loaded, so that's okay.
Churio's been red hot for them.
First inning, 1-out mound visit. Not the start that
18
Start you
pitches
off.
in.
Probably to
bases
calm
loaded.
him down a little bit because he's
Right.
probably super frustrated about the batter beforehand still. And I'm only guessing that because the bat he just had against Adames, nothing was close. So kind of one of those like settle him down moments, And yeah, hopefully get a nice routine ground ball to Dansby Swanson right now.
Do you like the format for the postseason? Like Jared was just saying, like, hey, get back to 500. You're right in. And you are. And the problem is, like, the Diamondbacks went to the World Series and the Rangers won the World Series. And so now everybody looks at it and says, but I also don't like just having a bunch of – I also don't want to water down.
God damn it.
That's
Murphy
not
is dead.
there it is.
BCA probably catches it, but I don't – whatever.
Ball looked like
Might.
it hit the
That's a tough
outside of Tuchman's glove. Yeah, at least he knocked it down.
Yeah, that could have been a lot worse because if that gets past him, especially, then you're looking at a lot
He didn't
more.
get a terrible break. He's
Yeah, it
just
hit him
not
in
as
the glove
fast
and he
as
dropped it.
BCA.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
just not as fast. It was real close.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to water down the value of being a division champ just to have pretty much the only team in baseball that isn't looking into like, well, we could be right there. We're not that far away from one. It's like the White Sox and Rockies.
Yeah.
Everybody
the
else thinks they got a
Marlins, yeah.
shot to make the playoffs. I don't know if I want it like that.
Starts to feel like the NBA where
Yeah.
how much does your regular season matter? If I can just be good enough and I stay in the hunt there until the end. And I think
the thing about the NBA though is that even if you're at the bottom and you get in, no one legitimately has a chance.
You're very
Right.
unlikely to go
Right.
ahead and beat the
but
one
in
seed. The
baseball, we've
is-
seen
yeah.
it.
well, yeah, the Diamondbacks,
Right.
great example of that. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Well, the Cubs
Nice
just beat
play
the Orioles.
there.
Cubs,
That's a great play.
Cubs beat the Orioles.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Like,
in-
it happens. That's how
right.
weird the game is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why my counterpoint to you, Luke, is that to me, sure, the last seeds or whatever, the 5 or the 6 seed. I mean, the 5 seed is still technically your second wild card, which they've had for a long time. But the third wild card, to me, it's just like if you get in, you got an opportunity. It's an opportunity.
I think
I understand it for now, but like, what
Yeah.
if you're the Brewers? You're the first place team, and nobody sniffed you all year, and then
then you just have a bad couple of days and
it's over.
Yeah, how about you don't
Yeah.
suck?
I don't know.
Play,
Said
play
and
like
done
you're
in a game
supposed
with
to
a lot of-
play. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
Baseball's they're trying to find ways to make it more exciting, and they're trying and I respect what they're doing because it's something different, and it does make it more engaging for fan bases, and it also makes the deadline a little bit more exciting, and that generates more growth online because if you're in it, or if there's more teams in it, the trades and the rumors and all of that generates excitement. So I understand what they're doing, but I'm kind of with you, Luke, in a way that I don't.
It's hard to get excited about a team that's
if you're going to do that,
hovering at 500.
Then then don't play 162 games is my other thing.
Right.
Because then you're wearing those teams out by the end of it. Great job by Steele to get out of it there.
Yeah, to get one run after all that, that's good on him. Yeah, I think the trade deadline part of it is interesting as we're kind of going through that right now, where in a way it's changed the way the trade deadline operates because you don't have as many teams who are clear sellers. You know, there's not as much of a pool to pull from. If you're a true playoff team that's looking to add somebody, how many teams can you pick up the phone and call right now? Because there's a lot of teams saying, well, we think we're still in it. We're still kind of in that wild card race. So it changes that too. And I don't know if that's better or worse, but I tend to think like I get frustrated by the teams like the White Sox and the Marlins and the Rockies that are just terrible. Because that's not, I mean, you're watering down the quality of the whole league. Because you haven't made like a honest effort to field a competitive team, and that bothers me. But so I think I like the kind of widening the playoffs a little bit because it encourages more teams to at least not be the cellar dwellers, you know.
I like what they did with the draft. Like the White Sox can't pick in the top 10 this year.
So you can't just tank
next year.
I like that because you're right.
And you won't tank.
If you're just bottoming out every year,
like the Orioles did.
Yeah, I mean,
to the point to where they are now.
Right, because it worked, but it's like you got to watch
Cubs did
years and years of really bad baseball, and for your fans, like that's just you're putting them through that. And in some cases you get to the end of it and it works, and you're like, all right, now we've got a championship to show for it. But for every one of those, there's a lot of teams that just seem to be kind of perpetually in that place, but don't ever have anything to show for it.
The MLB is the only league that sort of makes sense in terms of having to put a cap on that lottery system because you have teams like the White Sox, like the Marlins, that are so far below the cap floor, so far below what the big market teams are doing, where it's embarrassing. Padres were like this for a while, how little they are willing to spend. And so you either need to, as a league, institute a salary minimum, or, and I think this is happening slowly but surely, as sports teams become more highly valued, but you need to get owners that are just more serious about winning across the board. But other teams in general don't have that problem of owners not spending, a fifth as much of the money as, some of the teams in their division and that they're competing with. Because, you think about doing that in a different league and saying you can't pick in the top 10 in back-to-back years. Like, that's unheard of. That's a major problem in that. I just want to come out and say. Yeah,
seeing the ownership thing is definitely a hitting point. And all these guys having to vote on one another to see, who can come in and manage and own a team. And I understand all of that. I like the diversity of some owners in the league, but there's just some owners, right, that are just so god awful for baseball. Oakland being prime example A.
And Jerry Reinsdorf too.
And I think the diversity of owners is good. Having guys like Ricketts who are a little bit more fiscally conservative with how they deal with payroll is good because it forces you to almost build a team a different way. There's so many ways to build teams, but I agree with the tanking every year and being bad every year. It works. It's just I think there's other ways to do it that it's almost like a cop-out for a general manager. Oh, let's just be bad for 5 years and we'll be gifted all these. No, like I want you to earn your six-figure, almost couple $1 million paycheck at some.
So the
point.
Cubs should get back 2016, right? Never mind.
Well,
that's like I said
you can
earlier.
look-
In some cases it works, and you can look back on it
Yeah,
and say,
it works.
"Hey,
It
look,
works.
it worked." But
Yeah, it did.
Well,
who wants to
also-
go back and relive the 2012 season?
I hate to say this because it makes me want to throw up, but like up until last year, the Cardinals made the playoffs like for 20 years consecutively, which means they didn't have any bottom tier like draft picks. And sure, Albert Pujols helps being able to have a long sustained success. That's just one player though. They all, Wainwright, Chris Carpenter, I could list them, Scott Rowland, all these guys that they've had over the last 20 years. But the point is that like they just really good at developing talent, even without having top 10 draft picks. And so like that's like the best organizations are able to do that. God, I can't believe I just said all that live on YouTube. I hate myself.
They've struggled developing pitching, but you're right. That sustained success that they had with position players and power was, that's what wins you a lot of games.
Bushy,
Ooh,
That's it.
Michael Busch,
get down.
Not enough on that.
Get
one.
down.
Got under it.
run into each other.
Oh, yeah. I think
Did I just root for an injury?
I
I'm
like
sorry.
I like the change in the way the draft is done, because I think it does force general managers to be a little more creative or smarter about their jobs, because when you can be the Astros, the Cubs, the Orioles, and just tank year after year and get a bunch of top picks, then you can stockpile your minor league system really easily. And I think we'll see Baltimore win a World Series in the very near future. It might even be this year.
I think they'll win this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Because they're going to
be
go
able
get another great pitcher, and they're going to roll.
They're going to trade for somebody at this deadline, and there'll be another example of, hey, we tanked for years, but it paid off. But that's going to change.
So, Luke, you would completely revert back then? You'd go back to division winners and
just
the wild card game?
4 divisions and just win and go to the World Series. No,
Just
no, I
just straight to the old school, like best record in the American League, best record in the National League.
Yeah,
Straight to the World
I
Series.
wouldn't, and I know it's not going back because more games and more playoff teams, it all equals more money, so it's not going back. I just think there's something to. Okay, if they had all young players and this was happening, you'd be like, oh, okay, it's kind of exciting. If every player on the Cubs was young and they were kind of going through, but you get a $227 million payroll. This doesn't feel like a team right now that deserves to be in the postseason. They just don't. And I'm not saying the other teams that are in there with them, like the Pirates aren't.
Right.
The Pirates are just over 500, and you don't know what are they actually going to go get somebody at the trade deadline. I don't know.
I think they should.
I do too,
Yeah,
but I'm
agreed.
not confident that's going to happen.
Right. I don't think
That's
they
a
will,
fair.
but I agree. I think they should.
I don't know what the answer is. It just feels like a lot of teams and a lot of average teams, right? Like it just feels like there's a couple of good teams, and the average teams have almost just as good a chance once the playoffs start in that first couple rounds.
Especially those early stages.
And to that point, this isn't backed up by any statistics or anything. This is just more so
There you go,
There we
Sale.
go.
Kinda
Into
what
the
I'm
gap.
saying.
Hitting right there.
Into the
Yeah,
gap,
you
to
should
the
get-
wall.
you
Run,
should get 2
Sale.
out of that.
Keep running.
Ooh, he'll
Keep
maybe
running.
get 3. Nice
Here we
2-out
go
double.
again. 2-out hit.
Runner in scoring position.
Can you get
What's gonna
back-to-back 2-out hits? That's how this team scores. They only get hits when there's 2 outs and no one on, and when there's no one on base and the ball somehow goes over the fence. That's it.
What I was saying about the philosophy of being in the playoffs and being a wild card team, maybe not a world-beating team when you get in, like where the Cubs could hypothetically find themselves in a couple of months if they do turn it on. They have 50 games to turn on. They have the pitching to win a playoff series.
They absolutely do.
That's kind of that's the difference between. And I think that's why I said the Pirates should go get a player too, because they have a better pitching staff than the Cubs do. I don't know that their bullpen's better, but their starting rotation is certainly more fortified. And the Cubs starting pitching has been great. You obviously are going to take what the Pirates have given you this year.
Right.
So to that extent, Jed has already said we're really not looking at just 2024, which totally makes sense, and that's a smart business decision based on how they've played. But it doesn't completely rule out going out and getting not a rental player, because you do have the pitching that could win you a playoff series. They do. The Cubs have 3 starting pitchers right now, and hopefully Ben Brown coming back to, maybe get you there. But the offense right now is pretty horrendous. So that's a huge hypothetical.
Right. Offense badly needs help.
All right, Happer.
Speaking of which, are we going to get a?
Well, Happer's been their
2-out
most
RBI?
clutch player this year.
I like him in this spot, but
Yeah.
He's my who you got pick for those of us that
It's a
made who you
solid
got
choice.
picks today.
We still do who you got?
Could have won like 6 in a row, except for last night, I think. Been on a hot streak. Ryan's not keeping it on his little, bar napkin that he's got where he writes stuff down and shoves it in his pocket.
is it a front pocket?
Yeah, we all know.
Yeah. With his
After the
watch.
trade deadline, I'm just going to start taking players for the other team.
How about the gross? We were talking about napkins. How about the old thing like before Kleenex, where old guys used to walk around with a hanky
that they would use and reuse
over and over? They would
then
blow
just
their
stick it in
nose
there.
into this
Yeah.
rag and then just stick it back in their pocket.
Yeah. I remember as a kid.
Sounds like
watching
something my
that,
grandpa
thinking,
would have done.
that's- oh, yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Rip.
I think
It's
a
not
lot of
that
guys
far
in the
back.
day. Yeah.
They'd have
Well-
monogrammed hankies with their initials
And they
on
would
it,
just
full of boogers.
honk right into
Yeah.
it and then stick it back in their pocket.
With my allergies, can you imagine what that? Oh, what a disaster. App, there
There
it
we
is.
go.
Who you got?
There we go.
Wrap it
Tie
up.
it up.
7 in a
Nice
row.
Let's go. Gary Ross in the chat. Hap is batting righty. No way we get a 2-out hit.
You're wrong.
Hap heard you, Gary.
Hand
That was
grenade,
a-
that's right.
That
yeah.
was a great piece of 2-out hitting there.
He just
Sure
says
was.
I was wrong.
Love
Credit
it,
to Gary for
We
giving
love you,
credit.
Gary.
Went with the ball. The ball's on the outside half. He
4-1.
poked it right out there. That was great.
That's
Great
great
approach
hitting.
from Hap.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
If you
something-
took yes run first inning, congratulations.
App's got some value, by the way, if you could convince him to drop the no
That's
trade
that
clause
no
for some
trade.
team.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know. Cody and I mentioned this yesterday. We were sitting on the couch, and it's like, I don't love just opening up outfield spots for guys that haven't proven anything yet. I know they have to have a space to come up, but if he's actually hitting this year and you think he seems to be very consistent to always get to the numbers, like he was bad for a stretch this season,
But he'll get
but
there. Yeah.
he'll get there.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that can hit from both sides of the plate. He plays decent enough to good left field.
Right. I think the tricky thing with him is he seems to be so invested in Chicago. He's got
Right.
His Connect Roasters now, and they've got a partnership with Goose Island.
Saw that this morning.
Yeah,
That's
they
cool.
teamed up on a beer together. So, which is awesome. I love
Yeah.
that for that. Those are Connect. Those are good people. But yeah, I think so. He's got a lot of stuff going here. So I can see for him leaving Chicago would be, there's a lot more to that than just the Cubs. So I think he'd be a tough sell.
I mean,
on that.
I
my
do
whole
too. I think it'd
thing,
be real
if I
tough
were
sell.
him, my whole thing was always, he's never been part of a winning team outside of 2017 when he was a rookie. 2018, he wasn't very good. And that was the year before he got demoted to Iowa.
Yeah, I think it was 2019. He spent a chunk of the
Yeah,
season.
and then he came
AAA.
back in
Yeah.
2019, but they didn't make the playoffs, and then they haven't made the playoffs since. Outside of 2020, I guess you can say 2020, but they didn't win a playoff game in 2020 either. That's why I was like, if the Phillies are they really wanted to add an outfielder like they do, Schwarber's there, Castellanos is there, there's guys there that he knows and he's close with or played with before. Like maybe they're a team that he'd be willing to waive the no trade clause for, especially since they're the best team in the National League, those types of things. But
I could see that.
yeah,
Later
I'm not
in
going to
his
blame the guy
career,
for
he
not
might-
waiving it.
Right.
He got it. The Cubs offered it to him. I'm going to be mad at Jed Hoyer for giving it to him.
I don't blame him for asking. I think it's interesting that they gave two corner outfielders that they weren't sure how much like power you were getting.
Sure.
And in hindsight, you look at it and go, they're both nice players to good players. But I would have thought that you save your no trade clause conversations for your Patrick Kanes, your Jonathan Tate, your
You're like,
superstar players. Now, Happ's been around a long time, so maybe they said, okay, you earned it. That still wouldn't be a reason I'd give somebody a no trade clause, even if he asked for it.
Yeah.
those are usually that's reserved for your superstar.
He's
the
in
blue
trade
chip
rumors for
player,
multiple years, those last couple years before he got the extension. He's probably tired of being part of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, from the human element, I don't blame him.
Oh, I don't blame him at all. Good for him for getting it.
Right.
I'm just surprised that they handed out two no trade clauses to guys that, at least at that point, they had no reason to think they were going to be superstar players.
Yeah.
Happ's an affordable deal for the type of player he is and the role he fills, and he's a good player. But I don't know if it was me. I don't think I would have given a no trade clause.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you.
Now, maybe that's one of the ways they were able to
I was
lure him in.
just about to say
could be
that
the-
because it was the Cubs, and the Red Sox, and there was one other team that was really in on Seiya, and that might have been the reason why. And I think certainly if you asked Jed off the record right now, if he was in here with us having a couple beers and you're not on the mic, you're like, hey, did you really expect Seiya to be where he is? I think he said, no, we would have expected a lot more at this point, power-wise.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He shows, stretches of that, but I don't think overall has lived up to what was almost like 5-tool type of player that
Hideki
you thought you were
Matsui.
getting.
That's
Yeah.
the name I heard when he
Right.
came over. It was like,
Yeah.
he could be
Right.
your Hideki Matsui.
He's nowhere
And I know
close to
that's a
that.
little ridiculous just because
Yeah.
they're from the same country. But the point is, it's an international player that you're not totally sure how everything translates. And he was
Our guy,
good, really good.
our guy Patrick Norton, in the YouTube chat says he still has handkerchiefs.
There you go.
Does he?
He called us jerks.
How many times
do
how
you
many
already
times
said
do you
that?
use them?
Patrick
Right.
Norton.
I thought so. I thought I saw him the other day with a booger rag in
Like
his
in
pocket.
the pocket?
That's foul.
I need to know, Pat. So you're using it and putting it back in the pocket?
No, he's putting it in his pants pocket. I've never seen him in a collared shirt, so I don't know if he's going like, dress shirt.
'Cause I like the look of the
Wait.
pocket square.
We're talking pocket square, like in a
Right.
in a sport coat. Yes, but I've never blown my nose
don't-
into
right.
the actual pocket
You don't
square. It's,
You're not
You don't
supposed
take
there
to.
for
Yeah, you're
it's
not
there for
supposed to.
decoration, for
That's
Riz.
something
It's
that-
there for Riz.
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
there for
That's for
snot.
You're trying to for the Riz and whatnot.
Right.
That's something like Cousin Eddie would do.
Oh yeah.
Pull out his pocket square
Yeah. We got a real sinus infection.
and then just
Stick it back in the pocket.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, like I guess this is the only thing I really have to add to this conversation. If you're sick and you need to put one in your pocket, fine. But if you're doing that on a daily basis,
Right.
Can't you just
come on,
take
man,
some
do something
Kleenex?
else. Yeah,
Yeah,
I would do
if
something
that's
else.
like
I would. I'm not going to tell you how to cub or how to blow your nose, but I would.
What I
do
am
it
going to tell
differently.
you, do you really want to throw a booger-filled rag into your wash with all your other clothes?
Because
So this is the
that's
important
like-
conversation.
Yeah.
They don't talk about this on the Score or ESPN 1000.
Oh,
you
They only
get
talk about this
just
here.
anywhere. Yeah.
they don't know. They don't know.
They don't know.
Nice little bounce back inning here for Steele. 2 quick outs. Really nice pitch.
I
there.
told the chat to hit the like button for Stuck's Riz.
That's good.
Everett says he liked for Riz. Anthony. Not for Stuck's Riz.
Yeah, I'd like to see Steele have a
Well, he's got to
quicker
find a
inning
way
just
to go 6. He's coming off a bad start.
keep that pitch count down.
I
Yeah.
mean, I watched the game from the bleachers in his last start on last Friday, but he'd been so good up until that start. Everyone's allowed to have a bad start every now and then, so it is what it is. But now it's like, how do you bounce back? This is a must-win game for the Cubs. The offense actually freaking responded, scoring a run. Like, can you lock in now and do what you've always done against the Brewers, which is own them? So. These
Especially
next,
at home. This
yeah,
should
especially
be-
at home, yeah. he's been so much of an improved pitcher this year, even compared to last. Adding that changeup, even though he doesn't throw it nearly, like he doesn't throw it a ton, but he does throw it.
There we go.
Nice rundown by Tauchman, though.
Yeah.
Some people on Cubs Twitter think that Tauchman should have caught that ball, but
You go out there and catch that ball. That's a hard play, man.
yeah. I mean, that's like the value that Pete Crow-Armstrong brings. Like
He probably does make that catch.
PCA makes that catch.
PCA would have.
If
caught
that ball
yeah.
hit Tauchman's glove, and we're talking about the hit the ball in the first inning. If
Right.
that ball hit Tauchman's glove, PCA is probably standing catching it because he's so much faster than Tauchman.
PCA would've
Tauchman
caught
is
it.
a better corner outfielder than he is a center fielder. He's fine in center field. He can play the position for you, but he's a better corner outfielder. And PCA is just an elite defensive outfielder. It's what it is. Like,
And a
That's
very
why
very good move by Counsell to give PCA the day off after how he looked at the plate yesterday.
Yeah.
Just a guy up there with no confidence. Played a really good defensive center field yesterday. A really nice throw in to get Churio out, trying to stretch a single into a double. But yeah, PCA needed a day off at the plate.
I think
might
he
be
got
a
the day
pinch
off
run.
because the Brewers started a lefty.
Lefty.
But
I was just looking at I think this is. They're probably going to use him as an opener because he pitched on Sunday against the Twins, Zastrinsky.
oh, did
And then
he?
he pitched on Saturday too.
Okay.
So-
So I thought he was more of a bullpen guy. So
They've been
Yeah.
so beat up in their starting rotation.
one
I think
might
it's a
say
bullpen day
PCA
for
could
them.
get into this game at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May see him later on.
Wow. Looks like non-Cubs news. Looks like Alex Cora is going to make about $7 million a year with the Red Sox. So he's getting close to council money there. 3 years, $21 million
That's-
extension. The Red Sox.
Not bad.
Corey's in the chat. He says, Cody, I want you to know I tried your method of getting Taco Bell as post-loss therapy last night. It did make me feel better for what it's worth. I'm telling you,
Until it didn't.
go get yourself $20 Taco Bell order after a loss.
Man, $20 at Taco Bell. That's yeah. And
Okay, maybe not. Well, I'm thinking of with my significant other. Okay, so
okay, so that right.
more like a $10 one.
You're ordering for two.
Yeah, ordering for two.
Excuse me.
And we're getting parched up here. Might need some Blue Moon or something.
That's right. Of course, the watch along presented by our friends.
Can I
at Blue
borrow
Moon.
your handkerchief?
No. Can you imagine sharing it? Oh,
We look really good on set, guys. Credit to us. However, with the lighting, one of my legs looks darker than the other, which is weird based off what my YouTube
I'm looking
channel.
at that now.
I'm like,
Yeah,
why does one leg look darker than the other?
you got a tan on one side and then
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
just
that's-
good to have it. Just
Like
put a
that.
Kleenex in your pocket.
It's for
then.
show. It's a show
Now-
handkerchief.
The only positive to it over a Kleenex in the pocket
I
would
just
be
changed
that you don't
angles.
leave
Now
it in
looks
the
fine.
pocket during the wash and then
Right.
it's all over the place. But is it not disgusting, the old handkerchief thing? The booger rag in the pocket? It's prior to my era, but I've seen it. I've seen it, and I've always thought it was gross.
I grew up seeing guys do that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, Dansby, stop giving me heartburn. Yeah, what he had a hit 2 hits last night? A hit or two? That could be a
Chopper.
hit.
beat that
Two
out.
hopper.
Infield hit.
Say-
There you go.
Very
There you
nice.
go.
Another
Oh.
nice at bat for Dansby.
Is that Sarge Matthews? Knock off the helmet for show? A little bit. It might have been.
Lift that-
Oh, look
lift
how
that thing
fast
off.
I am.
Well, at least he's
Helmet
not
off.
magical trying to keep his helmet on.
Holding on to it like a handle.
Brendan will not shut up about how magical can't keep his helmet on his head.
I mean, it does fall off every time he's rounding second base, trying to stretch a single into it or go from first to
that a
third or
problem?
whatever.
Yeah.
That's hot.
I will
Seems
say
like a
this:
problem,
Dansby
though.
probably in the 9th inning yesterday, when the Cubs were down that
And I'm
run, and he
plugged for a little
worked
bit.
all the way to a full
Starts
count.
Smoking.
I was super impressed with the
Wow.
at bat that he gave, and it was
Yeah.
one of the best at bats I've seen him put together all year.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that's a sign of things to come.
Well, that week before the All-Star break, he was actually hot. He was actually hitting really well, and that's why the team won 5 in a row.
I
Series against the Diamondbacks, the entire offense was terrible. And last night, the offense was terrible as a whole. They scored a couple runs on Monday. He didn't have much to do with it. But, yeah, I mean, I would say in July it's been his best month of the season.
It was just really good to see him against a good pitcher. He's a guy who throws 100 miles an hour. Dansby's been struggling to catch up to the heat. He really put together a nice at-bat and gave the Cubs a chance yesterday. Stole second base. I mean, it was good. Just, it's hard. It stinks that you have to point out the little things, but we're kind of grasping at straws. But that was a really nice inning from him, and nice at bat here, too, to get on.
Well, I mean, we are, like, I think the magnifying glass is on Dansby right now because his first half was so bad. They need him to be better in the second half. It's just the fact of the matter. Like, and I'm not even asking him to be an elite hitter. I'm asking him to be a league average hitter, a 100 WRC plus. At the All-Star break, it was 79. Like, I just want him to be a league average hitter. That's not much to ask for, man, especially for someone of the money that he's making.
And somebody who's done it plenty of times before in his career. We're not asking for him to do anything that he hasn't done before. So yeah, it'd be nice here in the second half to see that start to happen. It seems like it slowly but surely, because he's had hits in, I think, is it every game since the break? Couple multi-hit games in there, so it's coming.
Sure. Oh, there you go.
Oh, there he
back-to-back
is.
hits. Holy shit.
Mid-suburban league.
100 miles per hour. Oh, Mike Tauchman trade value. Stock up.
Stock up.
So apparently Hard Knocks is at Wrigley filming Cole Kmet while wearing the CHGO shirt.
Yeah.
I like that.
Hell yeah, brother.
Nice.
Oh, here we go. So now Strizny, he's done. So it does look like that was the plan, was certain number of hitters or a certain number of pitches, and now he's done.
Yeah, it looks like on last Saturday he threw a third of an inning, and then Sunday threw 2/3 of an inning. So they've been using him in that short-term relief role. And I don't know how many pitchers the Brewers have on the IL right now, but it's a handful. They've been really banged up with injuries too this year.
But it's
don't make it sound like they're good. Come on, Kevin.
It'll be interesting to see how they handle, because this Christian Yelich stuff does not sound good for him or for them.
Did you know that they've actually had the worst record in the division in July?
Yeah, I did see that yesterday.
Milwaukee has?
Yeah,
did see
they
that.
have. And now with Yelich out, I am curious to see what they do at the deadline. Like, to me, they need to get a starting pitcher.
Well, this Yelich news is
if they're going to be more than just winning this division. Like, if they actually
Right.
want to contend for a World Series and actually have a reason to talk shit to Cubs fans about something,
They might need Ian Happ and Tyone for top prospects.
I mean, Christian Yelich kind of this year was reverting back to that 2018-19 MVP Yelich. He was hitting over 300. Without him, they're not winning a World Series. I don't think this team was good enough to win a World Series this year anyway. But I mean, if they lose
Definitely
Christian
not.
Yelich, I mean,
I
that
don't
almost
even
tells
understand
you
how
the
they're
Brewers are
winning.
gonna operate
I don't.
here.
I still don't understand how they're this far ahead. Like,
they're really fast.
Colin Ray and Zestrizny
They are really fast.
They lost.
They
They
steal
are
a lot of
fast. But like,
bases.
what?
They lead the league.
They lost
They're
two
really
of the best
fast
pitchers in
and-
baseball. They lost two of the best closers in baseball, and they lost a guy that was supposed to be the best manager in baseball. And they're
They're really
blowing away the
fast. They're
division.
really good defensively. And they have 2 star players.
Sweet. The Cubs stole a lot of bases last year, and they were good defensively, and they
Yeah, but they don't have any
Look
star
what it took
players.
for
left us
them.
a game out.
They don't have any
You're
star
right.
players.
Good sacrifice bunt there. From
And
Nito.
also last year they still had Corbin Burns still.
They still need a catcher.
And I guess for this year they still have Freddie Peralta, who is he's really good.
Adames is a good player.
And Adames is also, I would consider him a star as well. He did start the All-Star game this year, didn't he? Where he was at least invited to the All-Star game.
I don't
I don't remember if he started. No, Trey Turner started the All-Star game.
But he did
was
play.
amazing.
I think Adames
Yeah, he was
played.
there.
Thomas was there.
All right, my guy,
He's in the belly.
Cubs legend, future
Yeah.
Cubs legend,
I
Miles
gotta go
Mastrobuoni.
wash my mouth out with soap after that. I just said nice sack bunt, and I don't like bunts. I understand that's where Nito's at offensively, but man, 2 on, nobody out.
We don't need another
Ugh.
Nito.
Miles.
I'm with you.
You with me?
Now he's down 0-2. Put the ball in play, dude. Ugh. My favorite part of the season for sure is the week Miles Mastrobuoni had before the All-Star break. For sure.
I heard Carmen and Yurko yesterday doing their top 5.
Good take.
They were doing their top 5 concerts you've ever been to.
That's good. I can tell you
Do you have your top 3?
I just
I thought
went
it was
to the-
interesting. I never really thought about what my favorite concerts were.
I just went to the Rolling Stones a couple weeks ago, and that was kick-ass
I
killer.
think that was on
God
Yurko's
damn it,
list.
Miles.
Yeah, I mean they.
Somebody said it. I'm pretty sure it was Yurko.
It was awesome.
Even though they're old as dirt.
80 years old, and Mick Jagger was still running the length of the stage.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
If I get to 80 and can still do half of what he does, I'll be happy.
Yeah,
After
that
half
was-
of what he's done.
After what he's done to himself.
Yes.
Exactly. That's when you just know it's just genetics. I mean,
Luck.
yeah. Like I won a genetic lottery.
Yeah,
So
I'd
that
say-
was in your top 3 concerts of all
It
time?
might be my number one.
Number one.
It might be my number one. I saw Eric Church at the Bradley Center. That was a lot of fun. He played for 4 hours.
I don't think I've ever
What
been to
a
a 4-hour
fucking
concert.
joke. We're running into each other.
Wow,
Foo Fighters at Lollapalooza in the
Can we
pouring
just
rain is
acknowledge
my
how much of how annoying
best
that was?
concert memory of all time.
Yeah.
Neat. Well, it's not that it was Foo Fighters. It's just that it was like
Fucking dumb.
one of those black line storms came, and it was everybody was already knee deep in mud, and they played through a monsoon. And I have a cool picture somewhere on my phone of Dave Grohl, and it's just like,
It's coming down.
oh yeah, they played through it. They're like trying to take off. They're trying to cover like the speakers and stuff so nobody gets electrocuted, and it was crazy. And it actually happened during. It hadn't started raining, but you could see it was coming, and they started the drum beats for My Hero, and they got to the line, like the main chorus in the song, and as he hits it, the sky let loose like somebody was taking just buckets of water.
That's cool. Yeah.
And the rest of the night you were just soaking wet and covered in mud, and you didn't care. It was more of an
That's pretty cool.
experience than it was how
Yeah.
great the music. You know what I mean? Like I like Foo Fighters, so that would be number 1. I don't know about the other ones. Tom Petty probably at
See him at Wrigley.
no, I didn't. It's one of my great regrets. It was raining that night, and I was thinking about going. I was like, I go all the way down there and it's gonna rain. I've seen him like 5 times.
Mhm.
Tom Petty at not Alpine Valley. What's the other one? Outdoors.
In Chicago, Tinley.
Yeah. Tinley
Tinley?
Park. It was in
Yeah.
Tinley Park.
Okay.
That was a good concert. And then after that, if I had to go something different that people wouldn't expect, it was one that they mentioned, and it was Jay-Z and Kanye before Kanye had totally lost
That
his
would-
mind.
Wow.
And it
yeah.
was the Throne, and it was at the United Center, and they both were on giant boxes hanging from the ceiling. And they would go, one guy would do a hit, Jay-Z would do one of his hits, and then Kanye would do one of his hits, and then Jay-Z would sing one of his hits. And they would go back and forth, and you could tell that it was sort of a competition between the two, right? And that was a really cool concert. It was the coolest set I've ever seen for
That sounds awesome.
that was a really good one.
Yeah, you mentioned Alpine Valley. I mean, that's the biggest disappointment I've had.
Alpine, or
Was
just a
be-
concert at
Was
Alpine?
because I was going to see Jimmy Buffett there with my family. We're all parrot heads. Love Jimmy Buffett. We're in line. We're taking, having a couple beers in the parking lot and doing Jello shots. Everybody's about to go in, and they canceled the show because of the weather. That was the biggest letdown I think I've ever had. And then, obviously Jimmy dying last year before you got to see him. So that was tough. I got to get out to Alpine. I know Zach Brown plays out there a lot. They're on my list. I've heard it's a total
I didn't even know they still
party.
played concerts. I haven't been there probably since like the Jordan era.
That's a nice truck.
I saw Guns N' Roses Appetite for Destruction tour with Black Crows opening for them.
Ooh,
So
that'd be
early Guns N' Roses with early Black Crows. And then I saw like 2 or 3 tours by Aerosmith there, the Pump tour.
Cool.
And I can't remember who opened for them though. The Black Crows got booed off the stage. People ripped up
Did
the
they really?
Yeah, it was after a storm, and I don't know if they were on drugs or what was going on, but people took like 2 foot by 2 foot square chunks of sod and were throwing it from the hill onto the stage, and they finally left.
They just didn't like.
No, they were
Did they?
terrible. It was like,
Oh.
what are they even saying? What's happening here?
Oh.
People were just throwing, with a lot of drunk people. They were throwing sod on the.
I saw Steven Tyler at Summerfest. That was pretty cool. That's a couple of years ago.
Another old guy.
Yeah. Could still hit the notes though.
Yeah.
Dream on, he still hit the note. It was good.
I'm still pissed. They had 2 consecutive hits with 0 outs and then didn't score.
Cody, pay attention. What did you go to the Def Leppard? Did that concert finish before the storm?
I didn't
Cody's
end
trying
up
to
That was
going.
talk about the game.
That was the night of the tornadoes.
Yeah.
24 tornadoes.
Yeah, I didn't end up going.
Oh, you didn't even go.
No, I didn't go.
They started it early, I saw.
Best concerts I've been to are Justin Timberlake. Any of the 3 3 times I've gone. I guess I could put all 3
Thanks, Game
in
Time.
my top 3 if I wanted to. Florida Georgia Line and Backstreet Boys at Wrigley back in 2018 was pretty sick.
Oh.
Nelly was there too. I went to Morgan Wallen last year at Wrigley as well.
I was on my friend's balcony for that one. I could hear it from we were right behind the center field scoreboard. That was cool. That was a good show.
Yeah,
From what I heard of it. I didn't get to see it.
yeah.
Glad the Cubs didn't sign Rhys Hoskins, even though he's got 15 homers, and just decided to give lots of playing time to Busch.
I think in the long term, Busch is going to work out pretty nicely for them. I mean, he's having a solid rookie season. I think he'll develop into. I do wonder, is he going to stay at first base? I know they showed the clip earlier of him taking some reps at third. That might be something that's worth looking into for the long term. But yeah, I love that trade for them, even with Yency Almonte getting hurt. Now he's out for the year. Really nice deal to get Busch here, because I do think he's going to be a solid player for a lot of years.
We've said it behind the scenes before that, second base is an interest. All the infield spots are interesting moving forward. Dansby's your shortstop, but Busch did play a lot of second base in the minors.
He did.
And that would be a spot where you would get more pop out of your second baseman if you mixed things up and made some moves.
Got away.
Again,
with
I'm
one
not
there.
saying to trade Nico, but if Nico gets traded, or if Shaw, we don't know if Shaw is going to be a third baseman. We don't know if Cam Smith's going to be the third baseman. They've got a lot of guys that they could turn into more power at second base if they wanted to. But then
I'm
who the
sure-
heck plays first base?
I'm sure you talked about it last night on the post game a little bit, but Michael Busch's defense and his ability to knock the ball down on the infield dirt.
He's gotten
that's
a lot
valuable
better
piece.
at first base. A lot better.
yeah.
That's one reason I like him there. He
Which
has
if you
gotten
can
a lot
knock
better.
the ball down on one corner, you
Yeah.
can probably
You can
do it on the other corner.
Yeah.
Is what I mean.
Oh,
So that and his ability to put his body in front of the ball. I noticed there was a couple techniques that he was using yesterday where he was kind of sliding and putting his shoulder behind his glove like this. So if it goes up and hits you in the shoulder and keeps it in front of you, like none of the backhand stuff. I mean, there's fundamentally it looks good and it's aesthetically pleasing too. And you're right. I don't know. I'm not a big league player, but I think if you can knock the ball down on one corner, that's where it's going to come in the hottest. Maybe you can replicate that at the third base position if they do want to go out and get a guy like Pete Alonso to play first next year. But Busch's defense at first has been
Morel made
been
some
great.
decent plays at third yesterday.
Morel played really nice defense yesterday. Yes, he did. I'm still not a fan of
I'm
him
not
there,
either, but
and I don't think that
last
that's
night
the
wasn't
answer.
bad.
Well, Busch's defense that came up when I was there Monday night talked about the growth that he's made at first base, because I asked Counsell a question about that and he had some nice things to say, but then we asked Ian Happ about it, and Happ talked about like Busch's footwork around the bag and the way that he gets himself into position, and he said there are plays that Busch makes that because of his footwork become outs and kind of save us in some spots or get us out of innings. So as you're watching Michael Busch, pay attention to that defense, because he's really, I think even from the beginning of this season, he's come a long way. We talk a lot about what you hope for from his bat, but really, a solid defender as well. Because, I mean, they've got his numbers up there right now. And for a rookie season, that in 814 OPS, I'll take it.
The whole second base conversation, to me it's the one position where I'm like, if you wanted to move Hoerner just so you could play Shaw or Triantos, like to open up the spot for one of them to play there, that's fine. I still care about the return. Like, you don't just move Hoerner for the sake of moving him, even though I don't think he's an untouchable. He brings a ton of value. He's had a down offensive year, yet he still has a 2 WAR. He's a great defensive player. He makes contact. He does everything you honestly are asking him to do. It's just like, I think a lot of fan bases is frustrated, not necessarily frustrated just at him, but just frustrated that this offense can't get things together. And it comes back to the front office asking him to be more than what he is. And if anything, they're asking the entire roster to be more than what they are. And I could go down a whole rabbit hole with that. But the point is like, if you do move on from Hoerner, like I'm okay if that means that it opens up a spot for Shaw or Triantos and you want to promote one of them immediately and let them get some run the last 2 months. Like I can't say that about a lot of other guys. Like Ballesteros, I do feel like should be here. I don't know why he's not here at this point, considering how much he keeps raking in Iowa, and he's 20 years old and he's just dominating at every level that he's been at.
It's a tough pitch.
But yeah, second base, like I do think the Cubs like Shaw the most, and I don't know if he can be as great defensively, but I do feel like there's more power there, and this team needs more power. So that's like, I'm willing to sacrifice a little defense to get some offense into this team, man. Like, so I'm not sitting here advocating to trade Hoerner, but if they were to do that, to me, it's like, if you do it, then you better get Shaw or Triantos here now and start letting them adjust to major league pitching, because it's just the fact of the matter is like, you pick a direction in some ways doing that, and stick to your guns, man. Like this, for the last year and a half, this team has been 1 foot in on trying to compete and 1 foot out on trying to develop. And there's not just one full deciding factor. And in some ways it's hurt development, and while also not even leading to winning, because
they
haven't done any winning.
You're not accomplishing either. Oh, there we go.
Say just hit that out.
Say with a 3-0.
Let's go on the 3-0.
3-0. I like it.
Yeah.
Homer 2-1 Cubs.
Let's go. 14. Still think he can get to 20.
Yeah.
It's good.
Well, I think
if he doesn't get to 20, that's a huge L for the Cubs. I mean, that was a nice piece of
Cody,
it.
like what you were saying, I do think we might see post-trade deadline for the first time where the Cubs are in a position where they can let some of those guys come up. And like you said, give them some run and let them just play.
Yeah.
Because the way Jed Hoyer talked on Monday about like, hey, our moves are probably going to be more about 2025. Part of that is giving your Matt Shaws and your Triantos and your Ballesteros, like, give them an August, September look at the majors this year. so that they can take some of that experience, work on some stuff in the off season and spring training next year. And that does help you for 2025. It's more than just what trades you're going to make. It's also like, who are you giving regular playing time to in the end of the season, especially as it becomes a season that it's more and more apparent that you're really not going to compete. You need to stop expecting or hoping for that this year.
Yeah.
I think that's where they're going to end up.
Yeah.
It's not Nico slander.
No,
He's one of my favorite players on the team.
Yeah.
Did I think when they signed Dansby and had Nico move over and he agreed to move over, I thought that's your middle infield for the next 7 years. Right? That's what it looked like to me. And it is a good defensive. The problem is it's okay to have a middle infield that doesn't have power. It's okay to have a shortstop and a second baseman that don't have power at the plate. It's not okay to have that mixed with a center fielder who may not have power and a first baseman who's got some power. Left field's got some, right's got some. They don't have guaranteed power. And so it's really, for me, it's just that they have too many low power guys on the team at one time. It's a makeup thing.
Yeah.
They're all by themselves. They're individually good players, right?
It's just the wrong mixture. Yeah.
It's just the wrong mixture of players.
Mm-hmm.
And so is it easier? And if the reason I kind of looked at second base, and I think other teams may look at second base, is seems to be a place of depth in the organization behind Nico. So how much will you miss him versus can you get something like what value to get? I don't know if you get enough value for him, to be honest.
I think trading Nico Hoerner would be a huge mistake for the Cubs, but I totally understand the points that you guys made.
And Kevin, the trick is, like, if you're trying to get the right mixture on the team, right? Is it easier to find a second baseman to replace what Nico gives you, which is great defense, everything you want except for power in a player, everything you want except for power? Or is it easier to find power for 4 more positions on the team? You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
But I don't even really disagree with you. Like, I don't personally want them to trade Nico.
I don't at all.
Unless
Yeah.
it's
really
an
either.
absolute haul. Like, and I don't
Which
think
is
they'll
not
get
likely.
something like that because
No.
again, like, offensively, he's kind of having a down year, but his value truly comes from defense and his, high contact quality and, those, a lot of those little intangibles. Is he ever going to be an all-star player? I was hopeful that maybe after last year, maybe he could jump to that level this year. And instead he's taken a step back. I don't know if it's because of trying to slug more, because the swing looked very different in spring training this year compared to last year.
Some injuries too.
He's had some nagging injuries this year, but it hasn't kept him out very long. He's missed some games for sure, but it's not like he's been out 3 months or anything like that. But the point is like, I just don't think he's an untouchable player. I think you can move him if you can get a really good package for him, and then you have guys. And yeah, you could still find other places to play Shaw or Triantos. I know a lot of people still think Shaw can play third. I've listened to my guy Greg Huss talk about how he doesn't think Shaw can play third anymore. That's just one person, though. I don't know. Like, I'm not paying attention to what they're doing in Iowa and Tennessee on an everyday basis as much as those guys. But like, if you decide, which at this point, I don't know what they're going to do with Morel in terms of his defense, like, then that opens up a spot for Shaw. And I don't think Triantos is going to play third base. He hasn't played third base all season, I don't think.
And I think that's
so. It's like you have to, you can still play him somewhere in the infield, or maybe you can move Dansby to third and put one of them.
I think third base is
like,
the position. If you wanted a quick and easy way to add some power to your team, you look at third base options. You're trading with somebody, something like that, and that could even be a trade that they make in the next few days. But that to me is like the easiest place to like find a third baseman who can hit for power, and they're going to be out there at the trade deadline. And the Cubs have already been linked to some of those guys, so it's there. Because let's look at who they're playing at third base this season. Those are not, they're all fine backup players, but like none of those guys are should be regular third basemen, and yet they're kind of have to be, because of, like we were just saying a few minutes ago, because of the makeup of the roster. It's the wrong mixture of players. To me, that's like the easy, like I do that today. Go find that trade partner. Maybe it's Toronto, and you bring in your third base option. So
what you just said is exactly where I was going with this. Nico's certainly not an untouchable player. The Cubs don't have an untouchable player, except for Justin Steele and Shota, in my opinion. Those are the only two guys that I think are untouchable. Position player-wise, any one of those guys can be moved, but I think Nico is such a valuable player in so many ways and gives you so much that why make a position of strength a position of weakness? Because if you do bring up Matt Shaw to play second base for you next year, hypothetically, and Nico is gone, I guarantee you we will be sitting here and there will be frustration, the same frustration you're seeing right now online on Cubs Twitter and everywhere else about Pete Crow-Armstrong not hitting the ball. Guess what, guys? That would be Matt Shaw too. And then you have two guys who aren't really hitting the ball and are slowly kind of getting and learning how to hit Major League pitching. Yeah. Nico knows how to hit Major League pitching. He was a 5-4 player last year. He can still do that again. He's still young. He gives you so many things fundamentally that losing would really hurt the Cubs in the long term. That's why I'm very against moving him. I understand that could be, it's a position of strength in the organization, but if you really are about competing in 2025, it's about trimming the fat and getting better on the margins. Guys like Patrick Wisdom, Mastrobuoni, David Bodie cannot be in key situations for you. They just can't. Matt Shaw and some of those guys from AAA have to play those roles and work their way into more starting roles. That's kind of how the growth process has to be, but it's not linear and it's way easier said than done.
Sure. I would agree with that. I mean, the margins, to me, the marginal errors have been Jed Hoyer's biggest problem.
Yeah.
That's why there's $27 million of dead money on this payroll.
He did the 3 guys he signed last year, all 3 of them. I remember sitting here like we were like, man, Cubs really need a backup catcher. And Tucker Barnhart's the only one of it. And I just remember sitting there and groaning. And you're like, well, there's no one else available. And I'm like, well, he is awful, legitimately. And they signed him and they gave him a 2-year deal. Like, yeah, they have failed in that realm big time. And that's where I hope that these guys from AAA, when they come up next year, because they're going to come up and we're going to probably see maybe 1 or 2 of them this year, that they can show you that they can be the infrastructure and the guys on the margins, that you don't have to deal with these end of the bench players that are just so terrible. No more Nick Madrigal, no more David Bodie, no more having to rely on those guys in key situations, because that ultimately has killed them this year.
I bet him to make an out by putting
that at bat live.
Yeah, I did. Oh, and he fucking gets a hit.
What are you using, Prize Picks?
No, like it was like a live bet thing feature on the book I was using.
I've been having a lot of fun with Prize Picks. It's a good time.
Are you rich?
No, but it's still fun. I'm very much enjoying it. It is a really fun app to use. All my buddies in Wisconsin use it because they can't gamble up there.
Oh, yeah.
We were at the Cubs Brewers game last week or 2 weeks ago now, 2 or 3, whatever it was, before the All-Star break. And they're all sitting there on their phones, putting in like these 8-9 leg parlays because, it's so new to them now. And it was just funny. I was like, what are you guys using? Because I didn't think gambling, because it's not legal. I'm like, all Prize Picks is still technically legal.
It's daily fantasy.
It's daily fantasy.
Yeah, not technically gambling, but it's awesome.
That's right.
Well, let's see. This would be a big out to get here because you have the 9-hitter coming up in the 5th with the top of the order after that.
And Steele sitting at
And
70
Steele's
pitches.
got 70 pitches. Still think he can find a way to give you 6. But if he can at least give you 5, that's fine with how good the bullpen has been.
Yeah, you definitely want to see him. You need this out right here.
Yeah.
He's ahead in the count.
Popped up. Stay in play? No.
Nope.
Isn't Monasterio a former Cubs
He
prospect?
sure is.
Yes, he is.
What is up with the Brewers just taking guys from the Cubs that we never thought were going to be any good, and then they turn out to be some? I don't know. I don't even know what Monasterio's batting average is, but like, what is up with this? You think it's a petty thing? It's like, oh, we hate those kids, so we're just going to turn all their players they don't want into good players.
I think
Okay.
it's an interdivision thing. Like you get a look at these guys and
There's a
you're,
familiarity. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that plays.
Well, how
a
come
role.
we can't take some of their freaking players and turn? How come like why can't we take any of their players and turn them? They turn out to be secret agents.
Yeah, that's a good point because right, the only big time prospect that I remember for the Brewers that has failed and fell in their face was Keston Hiura. He was there. He was on the cover of magazines, and he was supposed to be the next big thing. And he came up to the major league, and he completely bombed. But Garrett Mitchell, I'm telling you, he looks good. And Jackson Churio, they signed to that big deal, the 5-year deal before he'd even played a game, and he looks like he's the real deal. So I don't know about some of these other lower level guys. It's an interesting round. It
Well,
could
it's
just
like
be
yesterday.
more coincidence too.
It's like yesterday. A third of their bullpen were former Cubs arms. Trevor McGill, Brian Hudson, Colin Ray started the game, former Cubs prospect.
Zastryzny.
Yeah, at least he won the World Series with the Cubs. But
Zastryzny.
Zastryzny. At least he won the World Series with the Cubs. But just put me in a freaking hole 6 feet under, dude.
Yeah, they
it legitimately makes me want to go jump off the balcony. It's so annoying.
Yeah,
that said, I'm gonna go get some pizza.
Trevor McGill, man. I remember when he was on the Cubs, and I just remember him just being a guy that you'd throw in, and he was is the only thing I can think of. And now he's one of the best closers in baseball. It's crazy. I don't know what went into that, but
wasn't Colin Ray at Iowa for a while?
He was.
Yeah. Couldn't tell you. I don't remember much about him at all.
I just remember him being at Iowa, like he was a starter at Iowa.
He might even be an Iowa native, if I remember correctly.
Trevor McGill with the Cubs.
Look at this drone video. By the way, this is the CHGO Cubs watch along, presented by our friends at Blue Moon. Made brighter. One of a kind every time.
I will say the marquee drone has been pretty cool, and I know I hated on it a little bit last year, and because they use it so much, and they used it a lot. They've been using it a lot too. That's hit pretty good.
That's a pitch you got to do more with, though. It's
not even to the warning track.
That's right there. I mean,
101 off the bat, and that thing died. Wow, wind blowing in.
Yeah.
I said last night, of all the stats and graphs that Brendan gives us, I want to know where the Cubs rank in warning track fly balls. Because I feel like this team lives on the warning track. Not the back of it, like the front edge of the warning track.
Well, that's like the Bodie fly out with the bases loaded last night.
Hit it hard.
Maybe they should just remove all the. They should remove the historic outfield wall and ivy, and bring it in and make all the walls like 5 feet closer.
Well, it helped the Orioles. Well, no, actually, they pushed that
It's
wall
a
back.
little bit harder to do when it's all brick and it's got ivy growing on it.
Put it on a track or something, though, so you can slide it in and out.
By game, depending on who your starter is.
Depending on who
Hendricks, you move it back a little bit.
Right. You get Wisniewski on the mound, you slide it back.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard of retractable roofs. Now, how about a retractable wall?
What if you could do it at bat?
Well, supposedly back in like the beginning of the 20th century, before they even had outfield walls and fans would line up along a rope in the outfield. They used to like physically, the fans would pull the rope back to try to keep balls in play. Maybe that's what they need to go to, is just Friday 120 club.
Friday
you guys
120
standing out
clubs
there
in
and
charge of holding the rope.
just pull that rope back or push it forward, depending on the situation.
Next thing you know, Bleacher Jeff standing over at shortstop.
Just keep pushing it in.
Pushing it in.
That's great baseball lore right there.
Yeah.
Pushing and pulling the rope to
Pulling
see
that rope.
what balls can stand. See, that one's hit pretty good too.
But
That's out.
Is
That's
that gonna
out.
go? Is that going to?
Oh,
my
warning
God.
track. Add it to the list.
There it is. Put it. We need like
Chalk it up to the graph.
yeah.
My grandfather, when he played baseball, especially he played semi-pro coming out of World War II, and they shared gloves.
Yeah,
he'd leave the glove on the field, and then the other guy would use the same glove. Crazy as that.
Different times. Now you go watch these kids playing travel ball, and they're more geared up than half of these pros.
Have you ever tried one of those old? Like as a kid, I used to try. Have you ever tried to catch a ball with one of those?
It's really
one
hard.
of
it
those
doesn't
mitts?
have webbing. It's just the fingers.
It's just like some
no-
cotton. There's
there's
no
no
other way to even
pocket.
grab
Yeah.
the ball.
Yeah.
I'm amazed.
It's like holding
at,
a frisbee.
Well, it's like you see the pictures of the catchers in their hands and
Yeah.
how gnarly they would get, because guys back then didn't throw as hard as these days, but they're still throwing hard, and you're catching that like practically barehanded. That's the thing that amazes me.
Yeah, you mentioned the travel ball thing. Yeah, some of these kids now have infield gloves, outfield gloves,
Multiple gloves, multiple bats.
Come on,
different colors
Man,
for
I
your
know the bats.
jerseys. I
Those
mean,
bats are expensive.
My
too.
little league, we had. I used to bring a wooden bat because Bill Buckner used to use a black wooden bat, and I would bring a black wooden bat. I don't think I ever got a hit with one, but I used it every once in a while. But then each team had like 3 aluminum bats.
You
And
just shared.
you just used one of the 3. I was like, 52 pounds soaking wet, and it was like the bat was as heavy as I was. It's like, could somebody give me a smaller bat?
Yeah, I don't think I had like my bat.
No,
That-
no, I never.
That wasn't a thing.
Not until definitely later in Little League did I have my own bat, but other people anybody could use it, right?
Yeah, it was just like communal.
And the helmet thing, I was making fun of Dansby for knocking off his helmet. The double, I remember the early years of Little League, the double flap helmet. I also had a tiny head, so the helmets never fit. So I literally would be either running around the
Banging
bases
around. Yeah.
with it like rattling and falling over your face, or you had to run with 2 hands on your head.
I guess I was a little different. When I played travel ball, I was lucky enough. I did have my own bat, and we had team issued helmets with
Each kid had their own
we had
helmet.
our own
Yeah.
helmets. Yeah.
Well, yeah, just based on lice, that's probably the way it should be.
Yeah.
Right.
But when I
But
moved back,
we
to
all
house,
used the same thing.
like in high school, we had team helmets. We didn't have our own. It was just travel ball for when I was 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. And then travel ball got old, and I was like, moved back to house league for a little bit, played in high school. And then after that, I mean, it was all, we would share each other's bats, kind of like Rizzo did with La Stella. When he went through a slump, I was like, I don't like how my bat feels today. And I'd pick up somebody else's. But
Now, did you ever have coach's pitch or not? Did you grow up with
Yes,
coach's pitch
when
first?
I was
that
younger.
the first step?
First-
I never
first
played
grade.
t-ball,
Like with
and we
the-
never had.
Yeah.
We never had coach's pitch. I think the first Little League I played in was first grade, and it was already we were throwing to
Those
each other.
kids were
Now,
pitching.
oh yeah, I mean, you had 18-0 games because somebody walked 7 players in a row. But like,
yeah, we had coach
never-
pitch first and second grade, I want to say. And when we moved up, it was
probably is a better game that way.
Yeah, I mean,
A lot of
we
the
got to
leagues,
teach guys how to play first and swing
Right.
a bat. And
a lot of the leagues.
Never, never did the coaches.
Then the coach comes out and does
tee?
it. Yeah.
Come on, that's not even baseball. Big hit off a tee, huh?
Well, I've seen
Credit
there's
to
a lot
you.
of the leagues that'll do it. It's like a hybrid where the kid's pitching, but if they throw 4 balls, then the coach comes out and the coach gets like 4 pitches, and whatever happens. The kid gets a chance to, try to hit off the coach.
I was gonna say I had coaches that I definitely would not have wanted to coach.
I coached my son's team when he was that age, and I would often was the one that had to go out there and throw. But you're pitching to your own team,
Right.
so that's a lot of pressure because I'm trying to
It's a small strike zone too. It's a
serve
real
it up.
short.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to serve it up so they can get some hits. And there were a couple innings where maybe I killed a rally or two. It's tough stuff.
Dad, I can't hit the high heat.
Yeah, no breaking pitches, Dad.
No, even with the helmet thing, we weren't sharing gloves. I'm not that old, but I do remember there being like always one small helmet. And if there happened to be the kid on base had the small helmet, you had to take whatever was left. So if the extra large was all that was left, you were wearing the extra large.
Dubs just put a comment in there. He goes, "My head was too small, so I had to wear my hat under my helmet."
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I was like, "Oh yeah."
But
Had to do
that
all
hurt
the time.
because if
Had
you
to do
got
that.
if you got the
knob
button
of
on top and
right.
that helmet's bouncing up and down on it,
That'll hurt you.
Wow,
That's
terrible call.
You'll take that if you're Justin Steele. But,
Take a
ooh,
seat.
That's
That
a
happens
rough.
to say Suzuki like once every game.
That's a rough strike call for. Is that Joey Ortiz?
That's Ortiz. Yep. Right out there.
All right, that pizza is good. Shout out to Salerno's.
I'm gonna go at the bottom of the inning
Cardinals
here.
lost, by the way. Nice.
Called it there again. That's up there.
That
That's
is-
up and out.
That's
Yeah.
up and out quite a
Contreras
ways.
is letting him know about it too because that's the same pitch. And well, now if I'm Steele, keep
I'll go there
tossing it
every
until
time.
you're going to give it to me. Until you change the call. I can't wait to. Hope I'm lucky enough to be able to coach my son in baseball if I ever get to that point and have kids. That
It's-
that sounds so fun.
It's a
Luke,
lot
you got a
of
lot
fun.
to look forward to. You think your son will play baseball too, or
it's a good
Maybe.
question. I showed him.
we
Got
got
him.
him.
He has no interest in watching baseball right now.
How old is he?
He just turned 3.
Okay.
He knows I talk about the Cubs, and he was interested in seeing. I gave him a video on FaceTime last night during the rain delay of the office, and he was most excited by the colors in the C4 refrigerator over there.
Wow.
Oh wow! Look at those colors.
Can we
change
get that
his colors?
fridge? Yeah.
That was the most exciting thing for him.
Yeah, he's
And he
out.
likes to sing. He does know how to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game,"
That's important.
and he does like to sing. Or no, I'm sorry. He likes to dance to our
Off the bag.
pre-podcast song, the countdown music.
Oh.
You like it? Is that the one for the moves? And I've tried to tell him, that's Big Dave at the
I
end of
was
the
going to
show.
say, can he sing
And
like
he
Big
said,
Dave?
"Who?" And I said, "Big Dave." That's Big Dave. All city.
Did you
like
know
the
that's
mayor.
Big Dave at the end?
People don't know that.
How,
We saw the white truck 2 weeks ago, yeah. But there was fertilizer on the grass next to it, so we didn't get too close. So, yeah, he's still into the white truck. Still likes the white truck. Thinks it's his truck.
God damn it.
We got to ride, not ride, but we got to sit on an excavator the other day, walking by an excavator, and he was staring. The guy's like,
That's
"Hey, little guy, I
exciting
want to go
stuff.
up on the excavator." That was
It's
big
exciting
time.
stuff when you're a 3-year-old boy.
what year did you coach your son? How many years did you?
It's so he's 10. So this was probably 3 years ago.
Okay.
Or maybe more.
So it's,
back when they were
it's 7.
still-
He's in second grade.
Yeah. And so you coached him and I coached him last year when he was still playing Park District. And I mean, it's a blast. It's a lot of fun.
Sounds
I-
awesome.
It's honestly, I think the most fun I've had around baseball in a long time was just coaching his team. Some of that had to do with, the dads that I was coaching with and, some of our post game activities, but yeah, we had a good time. But so my son he's playing travel now. But he's just at age 10. This is the age where he's now like really starting to get into it. and
Yeah.
he knows all the
Stay in.
players and,
All right.
um,
Don't run him over.
Yeah, I haven't pushed it at all. I don't. If he doesn't watch
It-
baseball, I don't care.
right.
5 strong.
But sometimes, like when they're real young, it'll seem like they're not going to get into it, and then
Right, it changes.
it comes along.
Nico's foot really, is the reason that he didn't slide
Yeah,
in the
that-
first. Yeah.
Now, does your son? Is he the guy that smokes the cigar after every game?
I'm
like
trying.
you?
I'm trying
You're
to
trying to get him in
but
on the
yeah,
big
I'm like,
cigar.
hey, you know,
After every Little League game,
Yeah.
he's saying to all the other 10-year-olds, "Hey guys, today I'm smoking
Hey, Jim
Swisher
Leland
Sweet
did it. It's
He's
from,
a-
7-Eleven."
Hall of Famer Jim Leland. Well, you know, it turns out it's frowned upon.
Oh, it
For a
is
10-year-old,
actually.
I think,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
I handed him one the first game this
Sure.
season in the dugout after the game. He's trying to go through the high five line, and I was like, "Here, you know, light up, let's go." But
At 10, do they still go get ice cream after every game?
they do. Well, not every game, but there
win.
were some. Yeah.
big tournament win or
Oh
something.
yeah.
where do you go?
You got to go to the DQ. Yeah.
Dairy Queen's
Oh,
the
yeah.
place now.
That's
I
See,
the
got a
spot.
question. And is it just me? When we were at Stadium Swim for Vegas, and the All-Star
Credit
game
to
was
you.
going on later that day, they were showing 2007 MLB All-Star Game highlights.
Okay.
It was like David Wright, Jose Reyes. I saw them running off the field. Jake got the starting nod, I believe, for the National League. To me, that was like my peak baseball fandom, and that's when I remember it being something that I could not get enough of. I had to watch the home run derby. I had to watch the All-Star game.
Had to watch
Yeah.
Cubs post game live with me.
Of course, I had to watch Beer Money.
He was
But
kidding.
I definitely was.
I wasn't beer money yet.
Is that because baseball was more nationally in the spotlight? Like baseball was
No.
moving off Sports Center a couple times. Like in that time, the NBA wasn't as popular, or is that just because that's just how I see it?
It's how you. It's
I think
how you
it's-
see it. The Cubs were good, and you were into
it's
it.
the age too. Like
So
whatever.
That's always just your age. I think.
Oh,
that's-
yeah.
I think that's the
Those would be
baseball
good.
age for
I
a
can't
lot
wait
of-
to get
for a
that
lot of
one.
kids. Like,
Around
Yeah.
10 years old, I think, is when it really starts to hit you. And that like 10 to 12-ish, 13, I feel like that becomes your sweet spot of like
Yes.
your baseball golden era is right around there.
I think it for me it was earlier. It was earlier than that because by the time I got to 12, I knew I
Miles
couldn't hit a curveball.
Masterboni.
Mine
Oh.
died.
I knew when I
mine
got
died
beamed. That
earlier
was
'cause, when I was playing, I was younger and I totally was small, and then
Yeah.
I quickly realized like I don't have any future in the sport.
Right.
But I still enjoyed like mine came a little earlier, but yeah, it's just that's interesting.
But you're right
It's
that like
so magical. Like I think it's like outside summer, especially if you're a Cubs fan, you're growing up going to Wrigley.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's hard not to fall in love.
The other big part of it, though, is like baseball cards. Collecting and trading baseball
Yeah.
cards.
Yes.
Different. You get to know the rosters
That
really
was a
well.
big thing.
You
But
learn-
is that
you
even
have-
remotely popular now?
it's
Different. It did.
It's-
Now
was
it's all about,
everything
It's all
as
about
a kid.
selling.
Popular
Yeah.
again.
it had a
A
resurgence
big
a
resurgence.
few years ago.
And it is sort of going in that direction again. Fanatics is now doing a lot with the trading cards. But I agree, Kevin. I used to think about like I used to be able to name like every starting player on every
Oh,
team.
yeah.
Now I'm like there's guys coming up in the division. I'm like, who's this again? Like
It was the
It's
baseball
like an easy
cards.
thing.
It was.
Video games.
I was gonna say MVP baseball 2005. I could name.
Oh, that's
Everybody-
changed it for me.
Yeah.
Every morning I woke up. There was like there was a cigar store in downtown Arlington Heights that my grandfather would go get his cigars and or his pipe tobacco at. And on the
hell
counter,
of
they
a
had
play
this
by
little
Ortiz.
spindle rack where they sold team magnets.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
You know the
Yeah.
little magnets?
Yeah.
Yep.
And so every time he would go, I would get a magnet. So I collected every team, and I would keep the division race. Yeah,
On the
there was no
magnets.
internet on the magnets on our refrigerator in the kitchen. So every morning I would open up the paper and I would adjust the standings for each team in each league.
That's awesome.
And so that's how I really got into like knowing what place what team was in all the time because every morning I updated
Because you
it.
had to right.
I
you
had to
to
update
look.
it every
Oh, yeah.
morning. I was the scoreboard guy.
Well, that's something that like that's one part of it that I don't know if kids do that because of the fact that like when I was 10, 11 years old, that was the first thing I did is I woke up and I'd get the newspaper and I would go through every single box score
Yeah.
just to see what guys did.
Yeah.
And it was different when you could just spread it out and just look at all of them in one.
Do
one
they still
spot.
put that in the newspaper? Box
I don't
scores?
know if they put like the whole league.
And I know
box
I know
scores.
I know
they
that obviously articles and
I
stuff
think
are
they
there,
do.
but like
My grandpa still reads the
still
Tribune
reads the
score.
box scores.
Yeah.
But do
That's
they
how we
run
did
like?
my first fantasy leagues was
Yeah,
just
that's
to
how
go
he still
through.
reads it.
You had to find the box score.
Do they run the entire league's box scores?
See that I don't know.
Because that's what I
I'm
used to look
not
at.
an-
Was like
I know they have the standings in there still. I don't know about
Yeah.
the entire
Okay.
box score.
Oh no, they put the whole box. That's what I'm saying. Like my peak interest as a kid in baseball was starting a fantasy league with friends, and I had to take a notepad and paper and go through every box score to see what each guy's player did that day and then add up the stats for the day. It took forever.
Did you put it on the bar napkin and put it in your pocket?
No,
Like
it
how
was not on
Ryan-
the bar napkin. There was no who you got. And by the way, very typical of me, I went from the magnet standings, which I had for every league. I had it for the NFL. I had it for the NBA. I had it for baseball. I didn't have the hockey ones. I went from that to then going on vacation every year to Minnesota, where they had a Dairy Queen, and each like every other day they would have a different helmet, Sunday helmet,
Oh yeah.
and everybody
Yeah.
had to order a Sunday helmet until I had all the teams and could keep them on a scoreboard.
I had a few of those back
That's
in the
cool.
day too.
But
Yeah.
then the league changed and like the Rockies came, the Marlins. I ran out of helmets. I didn't have them, but I ate a lot of Sundays. Right? Combined my two favorite things, ice cream and baseball at the time. Yeah. Screwed me over.
That was a pretty quick inning for the Cubs offense there. Joey Ortiz made a really nice play on Hoerner. Didn't hit it very hard, but Ortiz kind of threw it. He threw it off his, it looked like his right leg from, and he's a righty thrower. So imagine trying,
It's quite a throw.
and it was right on the money. Got Nico by a step and a half. So really wasn't even a close play. 1-run ball game, folks. This is another tight one, as if we expected anything else with Cubs and Brewers.
No, I
These games are
expected
always
them-
tight.
I expected the Cubs to put up 10 runs today, Kevin.
Jared,
are
would
the
you
odds
like to
here?
read the Illinois pork producers ad in the post-game show?
I sure would.
Plus 595. Talkman to get a hit. Cubs over runs and something else. That's what Joe Girardi's
Actually, I'm going to
betting.
give you Penrose Seltzer.
Let's just be real.
big fan
The
of Penrose.
parlays they come up
I
with
like
here
that.
on Marquee, they're wild.
Oh, yeah.
Did he?
I'm always like,
So
It's guys.
I
who
know
built
this
that.
is just
Have
a
you been out to
segment, guys,
Penrose's,
but I would
I
love
haven't
to
been
see
there.
you
I've
guys
been to
actually
Geneva.
tweet
But
them
yeah,
out.
Geneva's nice, but I
I
haven't
love
been to, I haven't
using
been
your
to the
own
brewery
money
yet.
to actually bet
it's a
them.
good spot.
Ron
It's a good-
Coomer's triple
yeah.
play prop
They've got
picks when he does
some
it on the pregame show are
outdoor
so funny.
seating.
He'll-
So
He
depending on the
always
weather,
says the
some
over.
spots to sit
He goes,
outside.
I like
think
the
I
over
have.
in this game. I don't think I've
Um,
ever heard him say I'm
one of-
taking the under.
one
Is
of
it the
the
brewery or
things
is it
It's funny,
attached
and
to a
it's-
Because he
restaurant?
likes runs.
Just-
He likes to parlay
But
home
they're-
runs.
There's a
they're
lot
good
of cool
about
little
money
places
line,
in
which
Geneva.
is
It's
like you
got
can
some-
do that every
Yeah,
once in a
Geneva's a
while,
good
but
spot.
that's
yeah.
Yeah.
and you know he's not.
I like
actually
you know
doing
it's
it,
right there on the
it's,
river and
hypotheticals and stuff. It's
but
just
yeah,
funny to hear him
Penrose,
talk about betting.
they're good about like you order pizza and get it delivered
Yeah.
to them. But they have a bunch of like in their tap room. There's a bunch of board games and stuff.
Sorry,
so
Brittany.
you can hang out and do stuff like
That's
that.
such
Or
an annoying.
that dropped in no man's land.
Even he knows. He
Yeah,
didn't.
it's a fun little town. We stayed at I guess it is a spa. There, right on the river. There's a hotel with like a spa
Oh, yeah.
inside.
Yeah,
We
it's on
stayed there
the
one weekend just to get out of town.
or the west side of the river there.
Yeah.
That's like southwest corner.
Literally, the
yeah.
water is almost rushing underneath your room.
Yeah, yeah.
It is right next to the rooms.
That's actually there's just south of the bridge there. I go fly fishing down there sometimes.
Really,
I caught my first fish
Oh.
on the fly rod at that
Right
spot.
there?
Yeah,
This isn't
yeah.
good, man.
And
First
what
two
was
runners
it?
on for the Brewers.
Just a little bluegill.
Yeah.
I mean,
Swanson
had it
just
not
missed
been
that one.
the first
Blue
fish I
pit.
ever-
Ugh.
I wouldn't have even like told anybody.
yeah,
you
but
know?
you were like,
but it was
that on
the
a
first
fly.
one, so I got took my picture.
And did you tie your own tie?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah, YouTube was a big help with that. Watched a lot of YouTube videos. I've got a friend who is really into it, so he's been sort of my instructor for a lot of that kind of stuff.
I think even if Dansby
Cam
gets
wants
to
to know
that
if I'm
ball,
watching
that's
the
still a
game.
hit. So
you might have been able to get the guy at second. Maybe
Yeah, it's 2-1 Cubs.
it is.
Cam wants to know if I'm watching.
Oh, yeah.
Now he knows what it's like every night, right?
Yeah.
How much of
Luke-
my conversation is baseball? Some
Doesn't
of it.
mean you're not watching.
No,
It's
I can
just,
see it. It's going on all the time. That's what baseball is to me. It's in the room. It's going on. You look up. Oh, here we go. We got 2
Well,
on.
the only thing missing from Luke on this compared to like when we just watch the games without you all watching us is he's normally eating something.
Actually, I may go get a C4 and just take a little bit of it, just to a little extra kick.
wow, Brewers sack bunting here. See, this is
Their offense has been struggling, so I guess I get it.
and you got to try and put runs on the board. And Garrett Mitchell hasn't been swinging the bat well, but
I tell you what, their manager, Council, he gets the most out of. Oh no, never mind.
If you're the Cubs in this situation, you absolutely welcome this bunt from Garrett Mitchell. They're going to give you an out here.
I would take it too. I agree.
It's lefty on lefty, so it kind of makes sense in that regard for them. But
especially if he can pop it up and Busch can come in and make the catch.
He's coming in really far there.
Was it last night? Was it Bodie or was it Busch?
Did the Rizzo? Yeah, no, it was Bodie.
Bodie pulled the Rizzo last night. Caught a bunt.
All of a sudden, he was playing first base.
But he
wisdom was in right.
Bodie into home plate as the pitch was being thrown, though. You know what I mean? Like, I swear I had only seen Anthony Rizzo do that before.
I do remember Rizzo doing that now. Yeah, because it's always worrisome, right? The guy can always pull the bat back and swing.
Come on. Justin.
Tyson Miller and
Mark
Leiter Jr. Two guys that could be
playing for
interesting for some other team.
Yeah.
Like 7 days.
Did they update the count or is it 3-1?
It's 3-2 now.
Okay. Yeah, it was said 2-1 on the.
Are you even watching the game?
No, it's 2-2.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Sean Caselli in the chat says, "Give me some of those chicken tendies from the last watch party." Those chicken tenders from Village Tavern did hit. He was.
Yeah.
Got his ass. Sit down.
Joey, are you coming on Friday to Miller's Ale House in Schaumburg?
What was he looking for? That ball's like right there.
It's right there.
You guys should do the show from there.
You know, the only reason I agreed to come do this today, Luke, is because you said Cooking with Dad was going to be here.
Grilling with Dad.
Grilling
I was
with
gonna
Dad.
say
sorry.
grilling with Dad.
Cooking.
Hey, we had pizza. We had free pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Steele's not happy with this.
He probably was pissed about that last pitch he just threw that he got lucky that Mitchell didn't swing at.
I mean,
5
we're not
1/3
used to
not long enough.
We're not used to Steele. Well, Steele came into this game. Remember, let's see here. He came into this game with. Okay, sorry, only 4 2/3 against the Diamondbacks. But prior to that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight quality starts. So, and I think this one was more so you pin on the first inning, you throw almost 30 pitches, and that puts you behind the 8 ball right away, especially on a warmer day. I mean, you're working a lot harder out there.
Mm-hmm. Jake Hazen. He's in my TikTok lives a lot. I see him in the chat a lot. Here, he says he just got off work and jumped in and said that he's ready to be hurt by the Cubs. I'm ready for the Cubs to hurt me. Hell yeah, dude. Welcome to therapy. The therapy before the therapy session. $63 people hanging out with us.
I respect on a Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
To watch this team.
In a 2-1 game.
Yeah. God bless y'all. All right. We're back. Who'd they end up bringing in? Is it Miller? That looks like Miller. Yeah. Okay.
So
perhaps trade value increases. Do you think the Cubs could trade Miller?
I think they could.
Yeah.
I think a lot of their moves will come out of the bullpen.
Yeah.
They're going to trade bullpen guys.
Which is so crazy considering how for most of the season everyone just thinks it sucks.
Yeah. It sort of turned into this is where you're going to get your most value on the trade market.
Yeah.
But they've made that work pretty well in the past. I mean, we have Ben Brown because of David Robertson. So
sure.
It can work.
Well, that's a good first pitch.
It is.
Who's at the plate? Who's that? Bauer?
Jake Bowers, pinch hitting.
Where'd this guy come from?
I believe, was he in Cleveland?
Was he? Mm.
Somebody can correct me on that if I'm wrong, but I think it was Cleveland.
There you go. 2 swing
I could
and
just
misses.
look it up, but
You could, yeah. The internet is literally fingertips away. I just don't care enough. But if you want to look it up, have at it.
I'm gonna see if I look it up though. I risk finding out that I'm wrong. So
fair enough. Chat will let us know. Oh, it's gonna drop.
that's not what you wanted.
Is he gonna? That's not gonna hold him. Oh no, he did hold up because he thought it was gonna be caught. Wow. Adames did not read that ball well. Apparently,
No.
only hit a 63 though. So that's so annoying. 63 mile an hour.
Hung up there just long enough that
Right.
he didn't think he could go for it. And I suppose you can see him. He's kind of waiting for a bit. And maybe with one out, you don't want to. You think you can get at least a sacrifice fly here.
Yeah.
Brewers really are the king of sub 70 mile an hour hits, aren't they? It just seems like every time they play the Cubs, I don't know how many hits they have in this game, but that's at least their third hit that isn't cracked 70 today.
That's when you know the baseball gods are smiling.
Terang's gonna freaking pull one out of here. He foul tipped up. Terang to me is actually the one guy on this team that if you ask me to choose a guy to like, he is the guy that I like. If you put a gun to my head and said you have to like someone on the Milwaukee Brewers, this is the guy. I don't really know.
There's a lot to like about him. He's a very good player.
I don't really know why I like him. It's just that I think I just kind of respect him more than anyone else.
When he's, if you're thinking about it from their perspective,
I don't want to respect Yelich.
he's a young player who,
yeah,
seems like you've got a bright future there.
He's got speed. He's a great defensive player.
An important position at second base.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I know those in the audience right now may not know this about me. I covered the Brewers for like 4 years when I was in college, and that was when Yelich was on a heater. I saw Yelich hit for the cycle. He really is a fun dude to cover, and he's a nice guy, and I think he's good for the rivalry too. He's a good sport about it in the bleachers.
Oh, I thought he went
close. So while I do not like the Brewers at all, I am a Christian Yelich fan.
Big of you to say on the CHGO Cubs podcast.
He went.
Wow.
I don't know how he did.
Oh, man, that's a missed call and a half. He went.
Yeah. Now he's going to hit it out. Enjoying that pizza? Salerno's.
It's huge. These slices are massive.
Yeah.
They sure are.
All right, Tyson. 2-2 count. Ugh, fuck. Can't walk him. So he's come in, allowed a 63 mile an hour bloop hit. That's the second bloop hit of the inning. And now we're at a 3-2 count. Well, one run game with the bases loaded. Oh, God. That wasn't even a strike, and he still hit it. Well, that's a tie ball game, guys. That's a charge against Steele.
It's good pitch location there. Terang just pulls his hands in on the high pitch. That's really hard to do on a high pitch like that, too.
Yeah, that's just good hitting. I don't even think that's – I think he executed probably close to the pitch that he wanted.
Yeah.
But Terang, that's just good hitting.
Same situation now still. Bases loaded, one out. You got to limit the damage here. You get a double play ball, you get out of the inning would be huge. Tie game. Worst case scenario or best case scenario would be your best case scenario. Then I guess next best case scenario is like a sac fly or a fielder's choice. You get 2 out, then you get consecutive outs.
Well, you're definitely trying to keep the ball on the ground here if you can.
Right.
And with Perkins, you're probably not turning 2, so I don't know where the infield's at, but I would imagine that your first play to home is if it's hit anywhere. But you're not really going to turn 2 on this guy unless it's hit directly to Dansby up the middle. So
This guy has been really annoying too. He's a great defender. All right, 2-1. Damn.
nice
How did he
change up
miss
there.
that?
Change up way ahead of it.
Yeah.
So the first strike was the same way.
It was right in the middle of the plate. He just missed it. All right, Miller.
Yep,
Miles.
There
There
you
you
go.
go.
Nice play by Mastroboni.
Did that perfectly.
I don't care what anyone says. I still think Mastroboni is like he's a fine 26th man, like a
He
fine
is.
guy in your 20, like the 26th man off your bench. Like he's a guy that if
I
you're
would
going to
want
call
him
up
on my
and,
team,
and
yeah.
not play,
Wow.
Yeah.
Look
You-
at that
you could
throw
play
over
certain
Shurio's
times.
shoulder.
That
man.
throw was
Yeah.
perfect.
Wow.
Right over his shoulder.
I know he doesn't hit, but the defense is good, especially at third base. Don't
Well,
know
he
why
can
they
really-
didn't do it earlier in the year.
And if need be, you can put him at 3 different infield
Yeah.
spots.
I don't
Yeah.
think he's a guy that should be playing every single day, but I also, don't
Are
think
you
that
offering?
Okay
he's.
for now.
I think he's a fine bench
I'll take
player.
one. Yeah, I'll take one. Blue Moon? Yeah, why not?
No, I'm good.
Blue Moon
Actually,
and baseball.
I'll take one.
What's better? What's better?
And that's a big out because now Tyson Miller goes back to the righty and he can focus more on that sweeper that has been just devastating to righties this year.
Yeah.
And I mean,
hear
going back to Mastroboni, like I have a lot of respect for a guy like him who gets shuttled back and forth as much
Always
as
shows
he
up
does.
ready.
He always shows up ready. He's going to do whatever he's called upon to do, like an absolute professional. And just like he's a good dude.
Yeah.
I have some family friends that went down to spring training this year, and their kids were trying to get autographs, and they said Mastroboni was one of the only ones who stopped and signed like everybody's stuff.
That's cool.
And
That
I'll
is cool.
consistently see him after batting practice going over, past the Cubs dugout, coming down to where the kids are by the batting cage, and he's signing for everybody. So he's a good dude.
That is just a great eye
The
from
thing-
Ortiz right there, man. That is a tough pitch to lay off.
Really tough.
The things I do for a Miles Mastroboni signed baseball. 2-2. Oh God! Please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt
Oh.
me.
Nice
Catch the
recovery.
ball, Saya.
Very
Jesus
good recovery
Christ.
from Miller there.
All things
2-2.
considered. Only
I still
one
think
run?
that's an inning that is trade value
Excuse
up, stock up for Tyson Miller.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Blue Moon made brighter. Celebrate responsibly.
I'm just gonna say I'm shocked. Luke Stuckmeyer drinking a beer on set. Has anyone on this show ever seen Luke Stuckmeyer
And then
drink a
chasing
beer?
it with a C4.
Has anyone ever seen Luke Stuckmeyer drink a beer on set? I've seen him drink a beer, but
C4
on set
chaser.
before.
We just needed the Blue Moon. That's what he's been waiting for.
I've seen Luke Stuckmeyer in a Santa suit on set before. I've seen him with a beer on
That
set.
is the wildest episode we have ever done.
Sat here-
Undoubtedly.
We sat
Oh,
here
I
for an
forgot we
hour
did the
and
whole
talked
thing
like
in
Santa
Santa,
Claus. That was-
Undoubtedly
it was
the
hot and itchy.
wildest episode we've ever done. And because it was literally like a couple days before Christmas and no one's talking about the Cubs at that time, I don't know how many people actually listened or watched it. But if
Had a
you
great
really
time.
you want a really good laugh during this really abysmal Cubs season of disappointment, go find the Before Christmas CHGO Cubs 2023 episode.
I
Like,
think
the
most
episode
people thought
before.
the bit was going to last like the intro of the show.
And it lasts the
It
entire
went the full
show.
hour. It went the full hour.
See,
You were in a Santa suit the entire. Your glasses
It was
were fogging up.
The sweaty Santa, itchy
Sweaty
polyester.
Santa.
Oh
Awful.
Yeah, see, I also thought it was only going to be for the intro, but
That was the whole show.
my God! Nope,
That's
he's
commitment,
out here
man.
in the Santa suit.
That is dedication.
that is commitment to the bit at its finest.
Gary says I didn't drink at the get together.
So you really you're Oh, here's
There it is,
Komet
Cole Komet underneath that jersey, by the way.
wearing a CHGO, shirt.
CHGO shirt. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good pitch.
Why is
That
it
was
buttoned
pretty
up? It's
Pretty
buttoned
good
up. Come
Yeah.
on, Cole.
Come on, Cole, unbutton that bad boy. Cubs probably said cover that up.
Gary says
Oh,
he
sure.
listened and watched to that particular episode. Credit to Gary.
Now is he going to sing the 7th inning stretch?
You should. I was really excited 2 nights ago on Monday night. Craig Robinson was there to throw out the first pitch, sang the 7th inning stretch. And he's the guy that he played Daryl on The Office.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
I was like,
Daryl.
when I saw he was there, I texted my wife and I said, if he comes up here, I will stop whatever I'm doing to get a picture with him. And I was able to do that. Caught him like behind where the TV booths and stuff, and chatted with him for a minute. Took a selfie.
Awesome.
Sick.
I was pretty excited. He was super, super nice too.
Say it.
We had him in for an episode or a night on Sports Talk Live or Chicago Tribune Live, and he was at that time he was still on The Office.
So
And again, really nice guy. I think he was just doing like a stand up.
yeah,
Yeah, he's going to be at Zany's or something that night. Nice guy.
yeah, very super friendly. That was a pretty cool moment.
The other guy,
I
the
would
other
have.
comedian,
I
let me
would have
see.
probably fanboyed a little too much
Well,
because
I
The
was-
Office is a big part of my entire life. I
think,
still quote it today.
for sure. But I had to like very carefully remind myself to call him Craig, not Daryl,
Not
because I'm sure
Daryl.
that happens to him all the time.
Daryl.
Daryl, yeah. Because that was the one thing I was most nervous about when I said hello to him, was like, don't call him Daryl.
Just yeah.
Do you we had this guy in, and I did some bits with him with Wanstead and this guy Steve Ranazisi. He's from the league.
Oh yeah, yes.
Kevin in the
Oh,
league. He's
yeah,
he's
yeah.
really funny. He would
Yeah.
come in multiple times, and one day he came in unexpected, and it was like, "Hey, Coach Wanstead and I are trying to shoot a little like skit promo thing. You in?" He's like, "What do you guys want to do?" And he was really funny in it.
That's
He was
awesome.
really
That
cool.
was a great show too.
It was
The
a
league.
really good show.
It's still fun to go back and watch it and hear them talk old fantasy names.
Who was Kroll? Kroll. Nick Kroll
from the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a Netflix special that's very, very funny. And he's
Big mouth,
he's on that David Chang cooking show I was telling you about, this famous chef, and he was on it with Mulaney.
Oh, okay.
And the famous chef just cooks for the two of them, and Kroll was really funny. That was a good show. It went a lot of seasons, maybe too many, but I used to watch The League and Always Sunny religiously.
The league was awesome. All right, Kim Morrell just like hit one out of here.
That'd be nice.
Da, 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 da,
That's a nice
da.
drone right there.
Got that
It
song
is.
stuck in my head.
Well,
He had a great walk yesterday, but his at bats today, not exactly.
199.
he's really like he's
Good.
expanding his zone
Yeah.
way too much.
Yeah, all the things that were good at the beginning of the year that gave you confidence that it would turn around, he's regressed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The approach stuff has regressed.
Right. I feel like at the beginning of the season, we were talking more about his defense and worrying about his defense.
That's all we
but
talk. Everybody,
it's-
even the team kept saying like, well, everything we're seeing, it's just a matter of time before a big breakout because he's
Yeah.
doing all the right things that we asked him to do. And then maybe it didn't happen fast enough for him.
Right. Then he starts to.
And it was like, I'm going back to what I was doing.
Yeah.
That's the way it feels.
And I'm not sure if you guys have chatted about this yet, but when Greg Counsell blew up at Jesse Rogers about that question that he asked about Morrell
That day.
swinging for the lake.
Yeah.
Listen, I think that the question was very valid in that way. Is Morrell does have one swing, and they preach for him to have a lot of pop and swing for the fences because they don't have a lot of guys that can do that. But in certain moments,
He
you
walked there,
need to be
apparently.
able to shorten up.
Rizzo
Last night,
used to with
Oh, yeah.
two
You see Ian
Two
Happ.
strikes,
You
always
see Ian
pull
Happ shorten up all the time when he's batting. Not really left-handed,
Zobrist
but
used to do it.
right-handed. He shortens up all the time.
Here's my hot dog brethren.
I think that's a valuable skill. And again, that's a part of the bigger conversation of the roster construction, right? Like you have to rely so much on Christopher Morel to always provide you the power.
I just think with my whole thing with that entire situation, I don't necessarily disagree with the question. I disagree with how he questioned it, because if that the way he questioned it is like if I was sitting in the media room and asked it,
And
and
wouldn't have used like the terminology he
Yeah.
used. Yeah.
yeah, that's my only problem with it, because if
That seemed to be what specifically counsel was reacting to was the
and
way
so that's
the
why I
question
don't
was-
The
necessarily
casual,
Yeah,
hey, we're at the bar, and
right. The phrase "swinging for the lake."
yeah.
but the response was, it's okay to be bothered by that. I just think an easier way to respond to it just would have been like, yeah, I disagree that, he was swinging for the lake,
Sure.
if that's what you want to call it.
Mhm.
And then answer it. We talk about approach. And then if you want to have that conversation with Jesse off camera and be like, come on, man, that was a shot. It was unnecessary. I got to protect my player. That's a totally different story. This was
Yes.
sort of taking it and attacking. And then the next day talking to another reporter saying, well, I guess that's the easier way to write the story. And it's like, let's not make this the team versus the media. It's not what it is.
Yeah.
I'm sure Jesse, like everybody else that's there, likes Chris. What's not to like about Christopher Morel? He was just, it was hyperbole in saying he was swinging for the lake. Now, maybe that didn't come across the right way, but it would be an easy way to handle it without it becoming a confrontation, when there were plenty of things during the game that drew less fire from the manager. And I know this was protecting his player, but protecting his player that was getting hosed by an umpire.
Yeah.
Right? There was less yelling there.
When I heard somebody say when I was there Monday, just that, I don't know. I mean, Milwaukee's on the lake as well, but I feel like just that expression, or at Wrigley Field, because of where it's located, I feel like you're more apt to use that expression because the lake is right there. You can see it, and so it might be an expression that sounds worse than it actually is, given just the local context of it. But yeah, I agree. I think there's probably a different way to handle that.
I wonder if Jesse had said something that bothered him game before, or
You never know. Yeah.
a session before, that just kind of ate away at him for a while, and then that drew that response. I just don't know. I was surprised Boog brought it up in the broadcast last night, though.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we're mentioning it now. I don't think that I was fine with the way the question was asked. Could you have phrased it differently? For sure. I think that you could have.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, there's a softer
am
way to
more
ask the question. Sure.
I think the question was fair. If you take out the terminology, the question is still fair because Morel has yet to show us that he is willing to shorten up in situations, and that is a problem. It's a big problem, and I really –
Yeah.
But again, we don't know what he's being told. And I think that's because they're always telling him to, hey, you have insane power. You have the most power on the team. You can hit the ball close to 500 feet if you really get a hold of one and the wind's blowing out. But again, that speaks more to roster construction. When there's certain types of situational baseball out there where you need a run, Morel really hasn't been. There's been so many times where, he's taking strike three or swinging through strike three or popping up because he's swinging it's so long of a swing. And
That almost hit him.
yeah, that's
Really
it. Wow.
did. That's
Right up and in.
Yeah, Hodge has been all over the place to start this inning.
friend of the show.
Friend of the show, Porter Hodge.
I did not text him to tell him to hit him. I did not do that.
Don't hit Reese.
Met a family member of his at Murphy's on Friday.
It's cool.
Shout out to Heather.
This is a big spot here for Porter Hodge.
Yeah. He's been getting a lot of high leverage chances.
Yeah,
so
That's a nice
think we go.
pitch.
yeah. I mean, he's a guy that if you want interest watching the second half of the season, which, it's not like the Cubs are 15 under 500, but, in terms of
tracking
development
his
and
development,
stuff,
yeah,
you want to
for
track
sure.
some development, this is a guy. There you go. A great comeback.
I'm going right back to that slider here, too.
Yeah.
I'm going to raise it up a little bit because I don't know if Hoskins is going to swing at that one again. That one kind of dove right away, but go back to that second slider. Yep.
Ooh,
Got him.
nasty.
Fastball, but on
What
the
a great
outside
pitch.
Go. He gave up a homer the other night. I think it was Monday. But
Yeah, it was a couple
then
nights ago.
he gave a homer and then just like locked in immediately. Like got 3 straight outs quickly and easy. And I just feel like his progression to this point in the season compared to when he first came up has been so fun to watch. And he's really only had like a few bad appearances. His major league debut was insane. Struck out the side of the Atlanta Braves. It was a blowout, but to do that in your major league debut was really impressive. But I just feel like he's grown so much, and this is like the kind of stuff that we've been talking about for him or other guys for the Cubs moving forward. If they're going to be if they're going to be a good organization, they got to be able to develop their own relievers. And he's one that's so far at this point looks promising. Got to see more, obviously, but
I like that he's even being given chances like this.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
here.
I mean, this is a big spot. Tie game, 7th inning. Yeah,
Heart of the order.
Yeah, heart of the order. Yeah.
See, I think that this is something I think about all the time is teams like the Phillies last year that went to the World Series and had a lot of injuries in their bullpen, like every team does. There's so many guys that just don't have the household name recognition that you need to pull up from the minors, that you need to develop, that play huge critical roles. And that's why guys like Porter Hodge, you're right, Cody. I mean, it has a big implication on the future of this team when they get into those bigger moments. You need to be able to develop guys like that. Really nice slider there. That crisp.
Excellent strikeouts there.
You need
Plus,
to
he's
have
got
that.
the hair flow thing going now.
I mean, that's a big factor.
Yeah.
We
hair
can't neglect
flow
that.
as a reliever for sure.
A little bit sort of floods.
Adames does not strike out a lot either. That's a really nice slider.
He's I don't know what, like, if he can be a closer, but I do feel like high leverage reliever is good.
Yeah, I think spots like this.
Yeah. But the thing that he brings that I've loved watching the most is he generates whiffs.
Mm-hmm.
They've needed that for a long time.
I mean, how many does he have in this inning right now? I mean,
just
he let that
3 batters.
Yeah.
That's at least 6. 6 or 7.
0-1 on Churio, who's been red hot too. Just really sucks about Luke Little because him and Luke Little, they had started to form a bit of a tandem there in the bullpen, and yeah.
Get there.
Happer.
Nice catch by Happ.
What a
Nice
catch.
Nice play.
It's huge.
Oh,
I was getting ready to say, it's like, if that's a hit after all the good things we just said, then everyone is going to blame us.
It's a shame, though. Cubs Twitter DFA'd Ian Happ 3 months ago, so it doesn't count.
They DFA Ian Happ at least once every
his
year.
last 10
man.
home runs have
It's
not
like an
counted.
annual tradition.
It's an annual tradition, you know.
Oh, Harry Carey, not Cole Kmet.
Ah.
Disappointing.
I'm still
Blue Moon's for you.
This Blue Moon's for Harry Carey and
I'm
Porter
still
Hodge.
haunted by the Harry Carey at the Field of Dreams game.
Yeah.
That was
Cub
so
fan and
creepy
a
to
Blue
see.
Moon fan. Yeah, that was weird.
You notice how Fox, and I am a Fox Sports fan. I think their broadcasts and their overall what they bring to all sports is phenomenal. I think their broadcast tandems are great. You notice how when they took that criticism right away, they have not tried to replicate anything of that margin again. I mean, it was so universally awkward and hated. Everyone's like, okay, it's cool that we have the ability to do this, but now that we know we have the ability to do this, let's just not do it. You know, we can, that's cool, but
Yeah,
like,
that's a good point.
So creepy, man.
Point.
Yeah.
I respect that.
You liked it, Joey? The Harry Carey hologram
Oh.
Harry?
I liked it because it gave me like a nostalgic Chuck E. Cheese animatronics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see, I didn't like Chuck
It's
E.
like
Cheese
what
either.
was the
Creeped me
at
out.
Disney World the
Creeped
Hall
me
of
out.
the Hall of Presidents, the
The Wax Museum in California. You ever
Yeah.
been to that?
No.
It's just
Where's that
wax-
at? Where's that?
somewhere in California, in LA area.
Really?
It's
Okay,
like
maybe I'll
wax.
check it out.
Maybe it's San
Going
Diego.
to LA.
Wax figurines. They throw it in a movie every once in a while. Where did I see it? There was some show. I can't.
Well, there was
remember.
wasn't it Sgt. Pepper, the album cover? It was the like then current day Beatles were posed next to the wax versions of themselves.
It's just a weird.
Yeah.
What came up with that idea? Hey, let's make some. Let's see where that is. The Wax Museum. There's one in Vegas. Claims. Let's see.
See if the Cubs can get some runs on the board here. Feels like these last couple innings have just been kind of
There's one in
going through the
Tennessee.
motions. Get a guy on, pinch run PCA. That seemed maybe we'll.
Yeah, I think you got to try to generate something here.
Yeah. Talkman gets a board here. It's 1 for 2.
Oh man. God.
Another
That's
ground
not
out
gonna
to
do it.
second base. He's done that.
Dude.
He's done that in back-to-back at bats now.
Can we just I don't know, man. This offense.
Yeah, it's hard to watch a lot of the
it's
time.
just like-
man. It's not easy. It's a chore.
I legitimately don't know how they're going to fix it, man. Everyone's solution is just trade guys so you can play Owen Casey and Ballesteros and
I don't think. Yeah, and I don't think
all
that's the
these
answer.
guys.
I
And
don't
I'm
think
just
that's-
like,
that's
what
the
if
way to
they
do it.
suck too, man?
Well,
What
that's
if
a
they
lot to
suck?
ask of a. That's a lot to ask of a rookie.
I'm just
Like, hey, come up and
Hit
provide
30
all-
bombs. Yeah.
Right.
And Ballesteros might be the one that I'm most confident in because not many 20-year-olds go to Iowa and freaking hit like he's been hitting. But so maybe there is a star in that bunch that I just said. But either way, like
I think that's
not
tough.
all like it's just like the development, it's just not linear, man. Like it's just isn't always linear like that. And like
Well, in Ballesteros' case, you'd have to factor in like he's coming up, and as a catcher, he's also there's that whole responsibility that as a rookie catcher, there's a big learning curve for managing a major league staff and learning how to work with all of these different guys.
sure.
And then to say on top of that, hey, by the way, could you also hit 25 homers for us?
Mhm.
There you
Master
go.
Boney just got a
Bone
hit.
man,
Everyone
Bone man
acknowledge
base
it.
hit.
Everyone
No.
acknowledge
Miles
Master Boney got a
Boney.
hit. If you don't
Important
acknowledge
throughout
it,
hit.
you're dead to me. Thank you.
So this rolls it back over to the top of the order, correct?
Yes.
Well,
See?
here's where it gets interesting because Miles has some wheels here. Now, here's where you want Craig. Here's where a manager comes into play. Do you want him to steal first pitch? You kind of got to pick your battle here with Junis on the mound. You're obviously going to send Miles here, but what pitch do you want to send him on is the question.
Right. You do
And
that right away.
I tend to lean that way. I would send him because Nico likes to swing. He's a free swinger. Let's see what he does. Yep. Oh, he jumped
had
it.
him. Wasn't even looking.
Wonder why he changed his mind. He was ready to
I
go.
know. Oof. Okay. It's a big responsibility over there for Miles right now. Don't get picked off. Nico's been on base 17 games in a row, I want to say. So there you go. Second pitch.
Oh, go, 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 go. Go, Miles.
Oh,
Let's go.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Where were you for the Master Boney game?
Well, he already had his game. It was like in that last week.
2.0.
That
This
last
is
week
the-
before the All-Star
This is a
game.
bigger game.
Miles Mastroboni game 2.
Right.
He didn't get a good jump there either, and he still beat it. That's very
I would
nice.
define the Mastroboni game as that
Sequel.
one
The sequel?
Justin Steele through the complete game, but Mastroboni had like 4 incredible defensive
That was
plays.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember
And he
that.
had like 2 hits that day too. And he almost hit a homer, in which I would have been absolutely insufferable on the internet about.
Let's see. Can Nico keep his on-base streak alive here?
Please
This would be
score
a useful spot to do that.
1 hit,
You'd be
1
stocked
time. Ugh.
Wow. Really pulled off on that one.
And speaking of wanting to shorten up your swing,
Yeah.
Shoot it to the right side.
yep, just shoot it to right field.
Oh, he shot it to the right side.
That's just
But it was nowhere near the
that's
zone.
just
He's
not
pissed
gonna-
that he
that's just
swung
not
at
gonna
it.
Get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Saw a lot of that last night too. A lot of the ground outs to second base. It's some pitchers have gotten something on Nico's scouting report where they are able to somehow get him to do that a lot. And good execution there.
And he's probably some of that frustration you're seeing is obviously it's I got a runner on third, tie game. He's thinking about that, but also I'm sure knowing there's something they've got on me, and he's noticing this is happening to me a lot while trying to work on counteracting or responding to whatever it is, what they're doing.
And then you're up there thinking about 4 or 5 different things at the same time, and it clouds. Oh, there's the pitch. I got to swing.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, that's frustrating. It's a frustrating end of the inning for sure. Still tied up. I think are they giving Leiter the 8th here? Probably.
I would imagine.
YouTube chat's cracking me up.
I did.
They're on
feel like
fire
my
right
laptop
now.
They're
was
on
They,
fire.
Trade Nico.
Trade Nico.
We got Hayward 2.0.
Hayward 2.0,
love
I
it.
saw, yeah.
I love it.
Oh,
I love it.
Not
That's
similar.
not fair.
Not a similar deal.
Nico was a 5-WAR player last year, folks.
Bench him. Love you, Becky. You see, when I'm already dead inside, everything just becomes comedy to me, folks.
It's just Schadenfreude, just
Yep. I mean, the good news, guys, is we're all gonna die someday anyway. I mean, what's the point? I'll say this. I'll agree this much with y'all. I had no confidence that they were going to get a hit to score that run. I had absolutely no confidence there. I think we can all agree on that. Nico Hoerner trade value down.
Probably based on that at bat. Yeah, according to the chat. Yes, they would not
Yeah, I
trade
mean,
for him.
for the people who are advocating that he be traded now, I would say this might be one of the worst times to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Leiter Jr. on here, the 8th inning. Wow, Garrett Mitchell is he going to bunt every at bat?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Leiter, where's his stock?
Garrett Mitchell has literally squared around. He did it a bunch yesterday, and at least twice. He did it his last at bat, and now again here. He must really be struggling to put the ball in play.
Ooh.
Someone told me Mastroboni sucks on Twitter, and so I'm now telling him that he sucks.
Good for
Good
you.
for
That's
you.
what
Good for
Twitter is
You
for.
suck.
Way to build relationships. Cody.
You suck.
So we're not getting a diehard out of that, huh?
No, I'm
He
just
just canceled his diehard membership.
just reply. You suck. You suck.
Mark Leiter Jr. playing with his food there. He knew whatever pitch he threw, Mitchell was just going to free swing at it.
Yeah, they're getting that strike call out there. That wasn't as far out there as some of those that Justin Steele was getting, but if I'm a hitter, that's pretty frustrating.
Mark Leiter Jr. trade value. Stock up.
Stock
See,
up.
this is when you trade a guy.
Juan Soto. Yankees, y'all need a reliever
50-50
Juan
raffle up to
Soto.
96
or,
grand.
or nothing.
Look at that. 96 grand.
I'll take one Juan Soto for Mark Leiter Jr.
That play from Dansby Swanson right there, I hope Christopher Morel was watching intently from the dugout because he knew his personnel, right?
Yeah.
That ball was hit in the
Nice,
hole,
easy,
and he
controlled
just tossed
throw,
it
yeah.
right over there. Something as simple as that. I know we overlooked it's easy to overlook, but that's a smart defender. I think that's one thing Morel needs to learn how to do instead of throwing the ball 600 miles an hour over to first base sometimes. Really nice play.
Sometimes
in the hole by
that's the
Dansby.
only way a guy can throw it. Like Sean Dunston back in the day,
Really?
he didn't throw
Yeah.
it hard. Well, the hard ones he threw into the upper deck.
Mhm.
But like same thing. Like
Just had
some
to
guys
whatever.
just don't know how to like calm the body down and do that.
Wow, great
Well,
inning
they
from
got-
Leiter.
They got Trang.
And maybe it
that
doesn't
time.
have to be 100 miles an hour over there, but you also don't want
Yeah.
him just trying to be like,
Mark
I
Leiter Jr. trade value.
think that adds to the yips.
Stock up.
8 pitches, 3 outs for
Mm.
Leiter there. That was
I'm really sad, man. I hate sending these trade value tweets. Shouldn't be talking about trade value, selling in fucking 2024.
tweet through the pain.
Shouldn't be talking about it. We're a bunch of losers. Thanks, Jed. Apparently, Red Sox and Rockies, some pushing and shoving.
There was an altercation.
Yeah. So what? It's Busch, Suzuki, Happ. Can one hit one over the fence?
I mean, on a team that does not have a lot of power, if there are 3 guys who I think one of them could do it here,
Yeah.
that's your group.
It's just like you've used all your best relievers now. It's a tie game. Gotta score
You
some
gotta-
runs. Outside of Nearest, we still have a chance to increase Nearest's trade value somehow, some way. But yeah.
If some team picks up the phone and offers you something for Hector Neris, that's a
Take it.
yeah, that's
Yes.
that's
I
a
shall
next question
accept.
type of answer. Next
Houston,
question.
would you like to send us Alex Bregman for Hector Nearest? We'll take rental Alex Bregman for Hector Nearest.
Is Bregman a full-on free agent after this year?
I
Or
think
is he-
so. I think so.
Yeah, he'd be a good signing.
How wild would that be, huh? It's not going to happen, but
I was gonna say I'm turning into the Godfather when in terms of expectations of free agents.
well, I'm talking about like trading for him. Now, as far as signing him, I mean, I'm not against the idea. It's just like he's going to want a long-term deal, you know. Like how many years you willing to go? We'll sit here for 3 months talking about how many years we're going to give Alex Bregman and how are we going to feel about it? When in general, I just don't care. Just make the team better, man. Who
Yeah, make it a-
cares?
make it a
It's not
movable.
my money. That's why I don't care about how much money Dansby Swanson makes. It's not my money, man. He's not playing to what he's making. You criticize him for
That's
that, but
right.
like I could care less that they're paying him a ton of money.
Well,
Yeah.
in a league that has no real salary cap, then
Right. So good. Oh, they call that a ball? They
They
call that
did.
one a strike though.
So we're 1-1 now.
Say a 2 for 3 today.
Come on, Saya. Let's see it.
You already hit one out. If this team were to like get hot again like it did before the All-Star break, this is the guy that's got to carry the load. This is the guy.
Especially with Bellinger not
Flying.
going to have to ramp himself back up when he gets back. You know, he's not just going to get back into the lineup and start hitting the ball. You know,
Right.
It usually takes a little bit. So
Sure.
definitely right about that one. Oh, they say he went. Yeah,
He really? Oh,
looked like his wrists. Yeah,
Let's see that replay.
I think he did go.
yeah.
Oh man, that's close.
See, I think it was earlier in the game when Terang was up.
Yeah.
Very, very similar.
And he's the one who got that hit.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that was a lot less of a turn. You're right. That's where you tighten up those batting gloves. You open up the nozzle a little bit and you let it rip. 2 outs, tie game.
Happ does the same thing every time after a pitch.
I know. Yeah.
Every time. It's no Nomar Garcia Parra, but he just does the same thing. It's crazy. See?
Yep. Puts the bat in between his cup, adjusts his batting gloves, puts a hand on the helmet,
Yep.
steps back in.
Yeah. The sky's dark because the man upstairs is going to cry if y'all
Raining
don't
out
win.
there.
So fucking win.
Hopped it up.
Just a really deflating inning. Oh. Well, got to get through the 9th inning and then hope and pray that man on second base in extra innings helps you win.
It's just as good as a rain delay, Luke. Extra innings.
Let's read the chat. What's the chat saying about our beautiful faces?
A watch along brought to you by our friends at Blue Moon. Made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Once in a blue moon.
cheers. Cheers to that. Cheers to Blue Moon.
Cheers. Blue Moon. Blue Moon. Cody, Blue Moon.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You know what gets me through 162 bad Chicago Cubs games? Blue Moon. If it wasn't for
Yeah.
Blue Moon, I would have already jumped off the balcony. But because of Blue Moon, I didn't.
Cubs somehow win this game. Blue Moon beer bat chug will be back because it'd be a series win.
That's true.
Hey.
And I don't remember the last time we did one.
I don't either. I feel like
I
last
was here
season,
when you
maybe.
did the Malort.
Yes. Well, that was when beer bats were banned.
Beer bats had been banned. I remember that night there was some, people were calling for the beer bat to come back.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I liked the Malort shot because it's an appropriate mixture of celebration and self-punishment.
Cam said Nico's just Gen Z Darwin Barney.
Disrespectful.
Wow.
I mean, the defense is about right at least. At least
Yeah,
Nico could
right.
hit a little bit,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
He's got multiple years of hitting. Darwin Barney never
Darwin
hit.
Barney.
He
Darwin
literally
Barney.
never hit. Never. Never at all in his career. He never hit. Gary says MLJ for Kyle Teal. Not the guy from the Red Sox, correct?
Who's this? Sorry.
Kyle Teal. He wasn't taken in the first round of the draft last year.
I couldn't tell you.
Have to look him up.
Another bunt for the Brewers. What's up with
What's
this?
up, bunts?
This is like, yesterday made sense. No team was getting runners on base, but man, Pat Murphy's playing an interesting small ball game here, and I don't think it's going to work out for him in the long run if they continue to do this. This is not the way I would do things, but they are in first place, so.
Gary Passon, aka Gary Ross, but we're calling him Gary Passon in this case. He says Dodgers right-handed pitcher Kyle Hurt is scheduled to undergo season-ending Tommy John surgery. Sources told him.
Oh, no. That's Gary Nightingale.
Oh, it's Nightingale? Oh, okay. Did he tweet it?
Yeah, Gary Nightingale. I don't know. I'm just teasing
Gary Nightingale. We can go with Gary
He goes
Nightingale.
by G Nightingale.
G Nightingale.
I think Gary's going to be at the watch party on Friday.
Well, sick.
He can get out to Schaumburg.
You guys doing a post-game show after this?
Yeah,
What do you
credit
mean,
to us.
you guys?
Am I in this too?
You're in.
Heck yeah. All
You're
right.
either sitting here or you're going
We're not
home.
taking that chair away, pal. Buckle up.
Buckle up.
Fasten those seatbelts, Cubs
You get-
fans.
you
You're
get
going to
to-
remember where you were for the rest of your life.
I don't
You
have
get to-
anything in the rundown yet, but
You get to talk about this game with us. What would you rather do on a Wednesday?
Not a whole lot. I'm
Play
happy.
NCAA 25? Okay, I get you.
I got my ass kicked. I played one of my buddies. Another dinky
Ace
hit.
knock.
I played that game for the first time like a couple days after it came out, and
Yeah.
my buddy beat me like probably 56-21. And I hadn't played Madden in like 10 years, and the controls were very similar. I know it's a different game, but the controls were similar from what I had been told.
Cody pretty badly in office.
He did, and I was very well. I was actually really pissed off at the game itself, and then I was pissed because I was losing to Ryan.
I know Ryan. He was Mizzou. But did you play as Illinois?
No, okay. So what happened was, hold on. All right,
Don't
we
drop
got to
it.
fly out here.
was it Mizzou
Right.
versus Eastern?
What happened was Ryan was playing Emma, our social media coordinator, and
Uh-huh.
of course Ryan was Mizzou. And for whatever reason, Emma decided to be Colorado, which Sanders one.
Coach
I think
Prime.
by ratings is the best team in the game,
Oh, they're not.
or it's one of. It's one of. They might be overrated on the game. Yeah. Anyway, it was like a touchdown game at halftime, or no, it was a 10-point game at halftime. I was down 10, like because she had to go do something, so I just stepped in and
Stepped
played
in.
at halftime.
Yep.
And then Ryan proceeded to just whip my ass. I
See,
threw
Ryan's-
the controller down at the like midway through the fourth quarter, like rage quit. I think I told someone to fuck off at least multiple times in the office.
Ryan strikes
yeah.
me as a guy who plays a lot of video games, and I'm sure he's going to get really good at this.
Well,
Most important part of the game. Cody's
was
not
your
talking
favorite
baseball
part of the
over there.
tie game,
I've got a
guys?
great
Send him.
influence on him.
Who brought the game in, by the way? Patrick?
Patrick. Yeah.
There we go.
What was
That
your
is-
favorite part?
Never
Well, there's your
nervous
Hector
nervous.
Neris trade value.
Hector
is-
Neris trade
That's
value.
killer right there.
Heart attack Hector.
Wow. Yeah, that can't happen. And unfortunately, with the way the track record of Neris this year, it's the contact and the walks have been a lot. So you
That was
almost expect
nine straight appearances, not giving up any runs.
Speaking of guys you'd like to have on your team, William Contreras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Want a catcher who can hit like that?
Hector Neris trade value. Yeah. Oh, I would have never guessed, Joseph.
I'm not thrilled.
I'm not thrilled either, admittedly. Well, God,
Just foul.
just foul.
He's going to
Say
get
they
them
need
into
that
some
insurance
serious
run.
trouble here if he's not careful.
Give me your best put out pitch here. Put him away. There you go.
Nice.
Hoskins really
Is
struggling.
his trade value suddenly spiking back up again?
No.
It's at bat to at bat. It's just
Really good run there on that fastball, though.
Yeah.
The honest answer is no.
there would be something if they just went and pulled him off the mound right now and just said, "All right, we've just dealt you.
We've just dealt you for multiple bags of balls and a new washing machine.
It's a bad take, Cody.
it's a bad take.
Go swing for the lake some more, Luke.
Shoot, challenged him with another fastball right there, and he missed it. That was ballsy there from Neris.
Yeah, because that got a lot of the plate.
Saw Adames let go of the bat with one hand. I mean, he thought he good stop.
Well, this is shaping up to be just another rendition of Cubs Brewers post 2018. Yeah, I mean, we already lost the season series. Sucks.
Well, this, like
Who
we
knows,
said
maybe the
earlier,
offense responds.
this is very much a must-win situation, and
Yeah.
you can't come through here. Then I think, in my mind, that settles any possibility that they might trade deadline wise, go in a slightly different direction than what Hoyer said on Monday. Because he did say, hey, if they win 8 in a row, and maybe it's not 8 in a row, but it's 7 out of 8 or something. But
Sure.
That's odds are stacked against them, of course, doing that in reality. But
Right.
any chance you have at that is out the window if you drop this one.
It's just this game. I mean, they had that one inning, they had first 2 guys on, and then they don't score. Like yesterday, they lose 1-0. It's like I've been saying all year. If it's not one thing, it's another. The only thing that's been consistent about this team in general has just been the overall pitching staff. Like, I know the bullpen struggled the first 2.5 months, but it's figured itself out to a point where I'm sending trade value tweets related to relievers.
Mhm.
I would not have thought I'd been doing that.
It's been one of the
2 months
best
ago.
bullpens in the National League the last
But
couple
overall,
weeks.
like, the pitching has been the only consistent thing with this team. Steele, 3 earned today and 5. Okay, couldn't go 6 or 7, but he continues to be awesome for you. Tyone was great for you yesterday. Shota, you get him on, not only do you get him on a great freaking contract, but he's been in rookie of the year.
All-star.
He was an all-star. He's been the rookie of the year talk. He's, I think in some ways you can argue he belongs and he deserves a few Cy Young votes. Like, it's incredibly disappointing. Incredibly disappointing that this offense is just this bad. Bad.
It wouldn't take much if they were even a little bit better at hitting with runners in scoring position.
Yeah.
Their season as a whole is on a much different trajectory.
Marquis just played that stat. The 2 teams that have the most 1-2 run games in baseball are the Brewers and Cubs, respectively. The Brewers have, I think it was 4 or 5 more games, and they're 15 over. I mean, yeah, it's sometimes it's a maddening sport. You can't figure out why you lose some of these 1-run games as much as you do, and why the Brewers tend to continue to be on the winning side of them.
Go ahead and swing for the lake here, though.
Yeah. I mean,
well, no, you don't want him to swing for the lake because then it ties it up.
That's right. Yeah.
Maybe don't.
I don't. Yeah.
You'd rather him get on and then someone else swing
That's
for the
right.
lake.
Yeah.
That's right.
Maybe don't expand your zone quite that much.
He's
though.
not going to get anything good here, these next 2 pitches. So
Good take. It's a good take.
put yourself in a hole.
Considering the pitches he swung at the first 2, I was surprised he took that one.
It's been in a lot of been down in the count a lot lately, Morel. Just not a recipe for success, as you
Looking
can see.
breaking
Case
ball
in
and he
point.
can't hit that fastball. Yeah. I don't know, man. Not sure. Not sure what to say about that one. Late.
For those of you that are out there, by the way, that have been watching since 1:20, appreciate all of you. We will do an hour-long post-game show when this baby is done.
You're not getting rid of us yet.
So stay right there.
Stick around,
There'll be a new link.
crack a
Also.
blue moon, and join us in talking about this
Stupid.
And we'll be back.
likely 3-2 loss.
Dansby gave you a really nice professional at bat in the 9th inning yesterday. Let's see if it happens again. They'll run the playbook exactly like they did before. Dansby can get on. You're going to steal a bag. Hopefully, you're going to send
down
him
the middle.
do a little hit and run action.
95,
manufacture a
right
run.
down the
You
middle.
gotta hit that. Like,
Yeah.
Anybody should be able to do some damage with a pitch like that. He's not chasing though. That's why he's ahead.
Oh,
95 looking.
All right, Dansby.
well, it was a decent 3-1 pitch go after. He hits a fastball historically well. I don't know. Whatever. Feel like he's getting something in the dirt here. Well, close.
It was pretty close. You
Pretty
were
close.
Way to protect
Who
there.
says I don't know ball?
Mm-hmm. Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan does
no.
basically tell me I don't know ball without saying it. Ryan triggers. If there's anyone who triggers me very easily, it's Ryan.
He knows how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
he knows
sometimes
the
I feel like he
buttons.
just does it on purpose.
Yeah. Could
So
be.
if there's anyone that triggers me is easy, it's Ryan. If there's anyone who holds a grudge against Ryan, it's me.
like an old married couple.
Right. Oh,
God damn
95.
it, man.
Yikes. Or seamer.
right over the plate
Right through
and
it.
late.
Right there.
Late.
Late.
Yep. He's
Almost in the
behind it.
glove when he
He was
went
late.
for that.
One of the worst fastball hitting teams in baseball. Am I right, Kevin?
Yeah, I mean they've really been struggling with it all year. I mean the velocity has really hurt them, and
Now
John
the-
Lester talked about it all weekend and even yesterday and the day before in the booth. The velocity is not going away. This is the new game of baseball. Every pitcher is going to have that weapon in their golf bag,
So you
and
gotta-
if you
yeah.
can't catch up to it and adapt, you're not going to have a job. And that's
Yeah. Velocity and guys who can elevate those pitches.
The script for this series now would tell you that the Cubs, Talkman will get a hit.
And then Patrick Wisdom pinch hitting.
Yes, they'll get their base runner with 2 outs.
And speaking of one of the most likable guys on the team, Patrick Wisdom, but who's not having a good season at all.
Boy, I thought he was going to hit one out yesterday.
Hey, he was close.
Got under it.
Talk.
Did he
No
get it? Did he
way.
get it? Did he get it? The answer is no.
Nope, he did not get it.
And they lose a 1-run game.
yeah, that's it's hard to.
All right. Well, that was fun. That was the Blue Moon watch along here at CHGO. Thanks to our friends at Blue Moon. Thanks to everybody in the live YouTube chat that was hanging out during the game. Again, don't forget, we've got a link coming for you. We'll be right back here with the post-game show, full hour. We'll talk about what went wrong, what went right, and Cody may have a rant or two for you. Or he's just out.
Can I just
Just
leave and
out.
let you guys do the
You
show?
see, that's
Sure,
where I
just-
thought we might
just
be
be
at.
empty.
There's 4 of us. Do I have to be? I don't want to do this. This team sucks. I'm done.
See,
I hate
see the
this
rant
team.
might be
It's
coming. So
coming.
stick around. Stick around. It's bubbling like the clouds that are rolling into the area right now. Okay, bye.